Hello and welcome to the Division 1 Valence League Grand Finals, where we will be seeing Sandbagging Rejects up against MadMen Phantoms in this best of five. And we're very, very excited as this is the Grand Finals for the top division, Division 1 of the Valence League.
Yep, me, Goop, joined by my boy Theo here, and hopefully we will bring a very nice final, and we'll only talk about the final.
It's going to be a banger for sure, for sure. Um,
Yeah,
as I can go ahead and run through the rosters. So on the side of Mad Men Phantoms, we've got Money to Make, Varric, Sunlight, Clyde Hype, and Ollie. And for Sandbagging Rejects, Captain Punkle, Doohy, Dirac, JC, and Kez. And we are right away in the draft. Oh,
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the changes that we have. So unfortunate circumstances happen, which we will not mention. So for Madmen on the blue side, they have already lost their mid lane player. The Holy Sheep is not going to be here with us tonight. And the support player, Demon. Instead, Sunlight, aka Endeavor, will be playing in the mid lane role. And Oli, coming from Div 2, will be playing as a support. As for sandbagging rejects, there are some interesting changes. So Dirac will be playing mid lane because they also lost Flippy, their mid laner. I mean, their mid laners. And JC, Chaewei Lee, Mr. James himself is going to be playing on the AD carry role. He reunited with his lost love, his only support that he can win a division with, Kiz. They're being reunited and they're having a Div 1 final together. That's going to be a banger, boys.
hell yeah. It's going to be, I mean, both of these teams have had players that they've had to substitute out. So it's not really like a one sided affair. Both of these teams are going to have to adjust, which is going to make it a very, very interesting series, especially given that it's the finals best of five of Division 1. And I think it's going to be a very exciting series.
Yeah, it's gonna be like who's the best on, as you said, adapting on the go, because none of these teams have play together, like I could tell you Oli never played with the Div 1 players, like they never had Endeavor, and same thing goes for sandbagging rejects. They never had JC or Kiz. I believe Derek was also playing in a different role for them. So this is definitely going to be a lot of people winging it. Like picking bands is going to be all over the place for these teams. We might see some crazy things we didn't see these team play before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of that is going to be very, because you've got to pull in players that maybe you were not expecting to be joining your roster. So you've got to hope that you can gel well with these new players that are adding to your roster, and any sort of strategies that you may have come up with throughout the entirety of the split, or ways that you communicate with the rest of your team or play with your players, might just be out of the window. You might have a new player come in who has a very different play style in their role, and you've got to very, very quickly adapt to being able to play around that. So we might even see that happening more so throughout the series. Like in the first few games, it might be a little more rough than towards the end of the series because of the quickness of the adjustments that some of these teams have had to make.
Yeah. Keep in mind, like some of these teams don't have even the basic stuff. Like, oh, these are my favorite champions. Like the changes that happened for some of the teams were less than 1 hour before this final. So imagine the things like what do you play? How do we integrate this with how we play? What is the best style we can play? And I can tell you, like I know most of these players. I've played against them, I played with them, and I can tell you that even knowing them, I cannot predict how these games are going to play out because like I've never seen these players together. Like there are some people that I've seen play in these roles. Like for instance, I did mention the JC Kids. These duo have been they have played together before. They have won stuff together before. For instance, like Varric and Doohy, they're the best two junglers in Div One. They have been for a while now. Like Sunlight coming back for this final. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, as I'm getting from production, we actually might not see a sunlight coming out tonight. You know, the sunlight might take a longer time to come out. We'll see what's gonna happen, boys. But nothing is set for sure, and all we know is that it's gonna be a clown fiesta, most likely. But
Nothing
one
better
that,
than a clown fiesta.
yeah, but one that I'm sure we will enjoy. I'm sure we will enjoy that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hey, it's a benefit in some ways, you know, if you don't know what you're going to do, your opponent doesn't know what you're going to do. So like how are they going to know what champions they need to ban or like where they need to play around? If you don't know what your strengths are, neither does your opponent. So maybe it will benefit some of these players.
Exactly, exactly. So how Phantom Madman Phantom have they been played? Usually, they have been reliant on the jungler Varric being that engine to get their games going, and the same thing is for Sandbagging rejects. To be honest, the roles that haven't changed. So it's the top side of the map, top and jungle, and these are the two roles that I'm most looking forward to see how they will play and how they will interact with all the chaos going around them with the changes.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of these players play before and having casted them before, but obviously on different teams and on like with completely different players and in different environments, you're going to have to like even if you're a very solid player yourself, it is very very dependent on the team you have. For example, if you're a strong carry player and then you on a team that's going to play around someone else, it's very very different and you have to get used to that. So both of these teams are gonna, I imagine, struggle quite a bit, even though the players on them are, of course, individually very good players.
Yeah. Even think of it from the communication point of view, right? A lot of teams they struggle to find the right balance in their communication. Like, are we talking too much? Are we talking too little? Who's shot calling? Who's doing the early game plays? Who's doing the setup? Who's doing this and that? But then once you switch, sometimes even one player, this can have a significant change on how the team speaks during the game. And I wish we could hear the comms for these teams, but
Oh
I'm
yeah,
afraid I'm afraid we will never be able to hear that. But that would be something interesting to look forward to.
we need to get the setup that they have like in LEC, where they just like have a cutaway where you can hear the players' comms in
Oh
Valanth
yeah,
League. That would be incredible.
yeah. I do believe that maybe 50% of that is going to be like blurred communication, but it still would be good content, I guess.
It would be incredible content. I think that would be actually hilarious. But I mean, you see that even with roster swaps in the higher leagues, like talking about the LEC, Fnatic brought in Poby and
Oh
replaced
yeah.
Humanoid because they thought maybe that would be a good idea to help get our communication better. So maybe we'll see some absolute wonders coming out of today, and maybe we'll see some mainstays going forward in their respective rosters. Oh, we might be having some technical difficulties.
Probably the lobby timed out. Mm, that is a thing. Um, I mean, for the Fnatic thing, I did believe ever since Humanoid and Razork played together, I said these two don't fit together. It's like each one of them is trying his best to enter the other one, you know? And I'm really happy for both of them that they don't have to play together anymore.
True. Although I have seen Humanoid being forced to go live because now he's on the bench. He's forced to stream, and every time he boots up his stream, he's incredibly salty, and it's the funniest thing ever. He's like
Ah,
throwing shade at Fnatic left, right, and center.
yeah, like what is he saying?
Well, he's been like completely like sarcastic and like passive aggressive. People in the chat have been like, "Oh, are you forced to stream by Fnatic?" And then he's like, "No, they would never do that to me. Wink, wink. They would never do that, guys. No, this is a very respectable organization, guys."
That sounds just like Humanoid, dude.
It does.
Like I wouldn't put it past him, you know, to say such a to be like such a it's to say such a thing.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Also, G2 had their old swap, no? Didn't they?
They tweeted about it, but it was completely bait because I remember they tweeted about what Broken Blade going jungle and Skumon going top,
Yeah,
but the tweet
classic
said,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
they said we're gonna do that for week one, and then they didn't play any games in week one, so they were just baiting everyone. But honestly, I think that would be a banger. I feel like G2 would probably still find a way to win if Broken Blade was in jungle. Like if they role swapped all of their players, they would probably still be SK.
Yeah, I mean, just by hand diff and like communication diff and everything, and you know, they have that. Some would say the greatest Western player on mid lane. So
True,
how can you lose when you have such a player, right?
true. Some people would say that.
Yeah, and
Although he
if
might be
people
the reward
disagree,
sharded.
then they might be clueless. Okay, let's ask production. Is there any update on the sunlight situation? Okay,
All right, we might be getting some lineup changes.
yeah. Okay, all right. So apologies for the delay, guys. It seems that sunlight probably cannot play. So I think that we think that Madman Phantom might be looking for a replacement on mid lane. If you are named Volpez or Kit, you know, this is your chance to hop in, get
True. Give yourself a finals.
a quick title, you know. So yeah, don't miss your chance. If you play mid lane, you're in VL. Just mention that you're free tonight if you want to play a best of five. Casteds by yours truly and three, of course.
Of
Oh,
course. Hey,
listen, there is
maybe we should sub in.
listen. I know this Jody guy. Okay, he's called Kiz. He used to play in Div 2 as well with Ollie. So maybe just sub in that guy, you know, put him in, coach.
True. I mean, it would be like, why? I mean, hey, maybe you will have the best experience of all time, and you will realize that Kiz is actually the greatest player known to mankind.
What? What are you saying, man? You cannot glaze Kiz like that. His ego is already through the roof. You cannot give him any more glaze. Please don't do it. Please.
All right, fine. Enough glaze. Enough glaze. But maybe it's worth thinking about. Maybe it's worth thinking about.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Well, we seem to be in dire need of someone to fill in these shoes. So unless we've got, oh,
Okay.
okay, we appear to have someone. I believe Remurin is going to be
Remembering.
filling in that spot for the mid lane.
Okay. To be honest, I've never seen. Maybe they named that's who? Oh, okay. So that's apparently any bot. Okay. All right. Any bot in the mid lane. I'm assuming from the name, people would ban Annie. Just saying. But yeah. So apparently, guys, we have Rimurin in mid lane instead of Sunlight. So as we mentioned, it should have been the Holy Sheep. Holy Sheep is not here today, tonight. So then it was Sunlight. Sunlight can't make it because of rules. So now it's Rimurin and mid lane, and the rest will be the same. Oli will be on support for MadMen Phantom, and for Sandbagging Rejects, they have JC Kiz in the bot lane and Dirac in the mid lane, with Duhi and Captain Pung being in the jungle and top lane.
All
And
right, so a
hopefully,
lot of changes.
that's a lot of changes. Okay.
All right, we will shortly be in the draft. We're just waiting on like confirmation, clarification to make sure that everything is in place and we don't have to swap out any more players. And as soon as that's done, we should be ready to hop into the draft. Now, God knows how long that will take, but hopefully it won't be too long.
Yeah, draft. Honestly, it's going to be all over the place. I could you talk about some of the champions, some of the players are known for. Uh, for instance, money to make. I've seen that he's really good at playing weak side and strong side. We've seen him carry on the likes of Sion going like 1-9 or something, and seen him going on Akali and double digit skills and just snowballing games. Varric as well, deep champion pool. Nice. Oh, it is what? We are in draft?
All right, draft is ready to
Ooh,
go. Amazing.
let's go, boys. We are in draft. Okay, straight off the go, we see the Syndra ban, which is aimed toward Dirac. He's very known for his Syndra in VL. The Pantheon, I believe that's to do. He very strong champion. Some would say it's. Some people actually agree it's the strongest jungler right now in the patch. That Pantheon and the Gwen. Okay.
Has the Pantheon nerf come out? Because I know they're nerfing at least the jungle presence of Pantheon, but I don't think that's been released yet. So Pantheon is still incredibly strong, and I think even after the nerf, he's still going to be a very strong pick, just maybe a little bit less prevalent. As Phantoms are going to first pick that Trundle.
Trundle B1 for Varric, a very a very strong champion, especially if you're going like with the current meta with all the bruisers. This Trundle champion, keep in mind it's also a flex, right? Because this champion can go top lane in the right matchup, and it can go in jungle, but I would say it's stronger in jungle. However, the answer is even better, Kindred on that R1 for Sandbag and Rejects.
Yeah, Kindred makes a lot of sense as Trundle is, well, it's a lot easier to kite a Trundle when you're a Kindred, and oh my god, the Ash locked in as well. So
Ooh.
it's a decent answer for that Trundle in the jungle. Of course, there's the opportunity to flex that Trundle towards the top side, but that is a lot less prevalent than the jungle position. You know, you've got a lot of utility towards the late game with the pillar. If you can pair it up with someone that can set up some of their CC off of your own pillar. So probably we're going to see Phantoms drafting something around that with the support, as it's going to be Lucian and probably the Milio locked in to pair alongside it.
Yeah, that's a strong pair. I could say about Clyde, a lot of wins with now Lucian in the AD carry role, and about Oli, really good with Emilio. Can play it, really good. So definitely strong 2v2 on that bot lane. I'm interested what's going to be the answer. Are we going to see like a Nautilus? Yeah, it is. It is the Nautilus for Kiz. So aggressive bot lane.
Yeah, very
From that
much so.
from that first rotation of the pick and ban, which three champions do you like as a starting building block so far?
I like the Lucian and the Milio. It's always a good pairing, and the the Trundle can be quite aggressive early game, and you can make some good moves around the map. So, but I think I like the Kindred pick from Sandbagging Rejects. Personally, I think MadMen, I would have to say, but I think both of these teams have decent stuff so far. And if they can draft around like this Ash being able to hit some cross map arrows, then Sandbagging Rejects also have good start to their comp as
Ooh.
some top lane bans come out from Phantoms. They're going to ban the Olaf and the Jax away, and the Renekton will also be banned away, but as well as that Mel going to be taken away from Remurin, quite possibly in the mid lane.
Yeah, the only issue I see for MadMen right now is that they need a go button. Like they still don't have a go button on their team comps, and they don't really outrange. That is kinda not a go button still. They need like I don't know, like an Orn or something. I don't. Okay, this can work, I guess. Set,
There's potential.
set. Yeah, you could pick up that fat Cho'Gath, you know, dropping on his teammate's head like a nuke, and that can win you a team fight. That can win you a team fight. However, one thing I would say for Madmen right now is that they don't really have a go button that you can rely on. Like I can see the charm, I could see the pillar. Is that it? Oh,
Whoa.
we were tricked.
Okay. Whoa. It's the Cho'Gath mid lane.
Yeah, and the Orn with his horn is going on top lane.
What on earth? These are some insane drafts here. 3 tanks on Sandbagging Rejects.
Yeah, 3 tanks and a Lucian and an Ari who in my opinion, like do they burn through tanks? I don't think so.
No, not really. There's not
Not
a lot of
really.
tank damage here on
Yeah.
Phantom. Unless that
Okay.
Trundle can be allowed to like free hit for a lot of the fight and get that subjugate down. These tanks are going to be very, very tanky to try and cut through.
Yeah. And it's like the Trundle, he can only ulti one tank, right?
Yeah.
And there are 3 of them. The set can pick up one tank, and there are 3 of them. So far, not seeing this how this plays out, I really like Sandbagging Rejects team comp. I really like it.
I'm going to have to say I agree as like there's 3 tanks, and obviously the problem with that is you don't have too much damage, especially if Madman Phantoms can find a way to get onto one of your carries. If they can assassinate the Ash, for example, it might be very hard to play out the team fight because then you'll be very, very down in damage. But there's a Kindred to try and keep that Ash alive as well with the Lamb's Respite. And also, Phantoms don't have that much dive. They've got the Ari, which is good, but there's no follow up. There's no Vi, there's no Ambessa, there's no one else who can synergize with that Ari and dive onto a carry and take them out. So I don't think Sandbagging Rejects are going to have too much trouble keeping those carries alive and just be able to deal enough damage to win the team fights.
Yeah, not to mention that Sandbag rejects also have the range advantage when it comes to the Kindred and the Ash compared to the Lucian and the Ahri. So even with Emilio, I don't think Lucian can compete with how much space can that Ahri, can that Ash and the Kindred can actually make and poke him from.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's going to be very difficult for this Ari to find a good target to charm, because if you go into like you said, you get outranged. If you want to go in with the Spirit Rush, you've got to get past an Ornn and a Cho'Gath and a Nautilus, and the rest
Yeah.
of your team doesn't really have much of a way to follow up when you're going past all those tanks. So odds are, you press R, you go in, you get CC'd, and then you get eaten by a Cho'Gath and die. So it's not easy for them to play front to back. It's not easy for them to dive. Um, Sandbagging rejects might just be like in a very, very comfortable position in a team fight with the Ashe just sitting in the back behind 3 massive walls and just raining arrows down.
Yeah. And it's crazy that the team comp ended up being the way it is, considering the B1 pick we saw was Trundle. And usually when you see Trundle, you usually like sway away from picking tanks. But somehow we end up with an Ornn, a Cho'Gath, a Nautilus.
Yeah. Well, I suppose what you mentioned earlier was right. You can only ult one of the tanks on the
Yeah,
with the Trundle. So if you make one of them lose all their resistances, well then there's 2 more that are all still as beefy as ever, and then you're in a bit of a rough spot. So one tank into a Trundle, maybe not the best, but apparently 3 of them is what Sandbagging rejects have opted for in this game, and we'll see how it's going to pan out.
yeah, exactly. It feels that also for MadMen, they need to play aggressive. They need to play like aggressive early on. They need to play on the go and try to accumulate as much lead as they can from the get go before the Kindred gets their mark, before Cho'Gath get his tags, um, and maybe potentially if they get ahead early on, then they could probably play sort of like a 1-3-1 kind of game. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes, how this game develops.
Yeah, I think inside of like a 5v5 team fight, Sandbagging rejects will very much be favored. But if MadMen can find like 2v2s around the map, or just find a fight where they can send like 3 members or 2 members to have an even numbers fight that's not a 5v5, then Sandbag and Rejects might struggle a bit more, because either they've got, well, your Ashe can't be in 2 places at once. So, but on MadMen, you've got a lot of individual damage options, right? Everyone except for this Milio has a decent amount of damage in their kit, whereas on MadMen, it's really the Ashe and the Kindred that you're relying on to do the majority of the damage. Unless, I mean, even if you do go for some form of an AP Cho'Gath build, he's obviously not going to have as much consistent sustained damage as a Lucian, as a Set, or a Trundle.
Yeah, I'm actually interested. Like, what do you think kind of build this Cho'Gath would go? Because we've seen so many things that Cho'Gath players go. Like, I remember seeing Hail of Plays Cho'Gath with like movement speed to run you down like an animal and just eat your ass. Or you've seen like the AP Cho'Gath, the classic. Like, I'll just land the Q, one shot your ass. Or you see like the HP stack and the classical, Cho'Gath we think of when we see like a top lane Cho'Gath. So, what do you think? Which version of Cho'Gath are we going to see this game?
The like AP kind of Rift Maker Cho'Gath is still more prevalent. Like when you play Cho'Gath in the mid lane, is kind of where you see that, because in the mid lane you're going to be against a mage, right? The Ari in this case, it's a lot harder to stack up a bunch of Heartsteel stacks. So it's
Yeah.
probably going to be some form of like Hail of Blades, maybe with like a rocket belt or something along those lines. But you never know. I mean, it could still be the full move speed with the Shirelias. I think there are way too many Cho'Gath builds that you can go. You can obviously go Heartsteel, you can go Rocket Belt, you can go Riftmaker, you can go Shirelias. So I think it's most likely going to be the Hail of Blades. But I could be wrong. It could be something completely different. It could be an Electrocute Cho'Gath or something similar. But I guess we'll see very shortly when we get into the game what runes we have for this Cho'Gath. But the build, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see what that is going to be.
Okay, we are almost there, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Um, I hope that we have a good series of this first game, and hopefully it will stay a clean game. It will be clean games,
Oh
away
yeah.
from all the things that would ruin a good night, a good final.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of faith. I think no matter what happens, the game is going to be a banger. I have no idea how this is going to pan out given the circumstances, but I think either way, it will be enjoyable. And we are here and ready
Oh,
on
we
the
are
Rift.
in. Yes. On the blue side, we have MadMen Phantom. And on the red side, we have Sandbagging Rejects. We have our
Absolutely.
awesome overlay on. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Only Mistos, bro. Only Mistos. Oh, yeah. Look at it. It's Hell of Blades, Trio.
It is. It's the Hail of Blades Cho'Gath, which is likely what we
Oh.
expected going into that Ari. So makes a lot of sense. But
Oh.
I mean, look at that beautiful overlay. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that is beautiful, man. That only Mistos does it this way, man. It's like I gotta say, Madmen are lucky to have such an awesome production in there. Like the only org I can
True.
think of that has similar production is Frostbite as well. They have a really good production. Uh, okay. Shout out to Celestial. My production said I should mention Celestial. Shout out to Celestial, guys. Okay, so let's see the early wards. We can see that the information and advantage, I would say it's already secured for Madmen, as they have that ward on Raptors right now, which can predict slash see where the jungler started, as we have the early game pause.
Yeah, this is a very common occurrence, the pause, whether it's, oh, whoopsie, I forgot to go to the toilet, or my PC has died and turned on fire. There's always some reason for a pause. Not entirely sure what it is this time around, as we'll probably relay that information. Okay, but we will be getting back in incredibly shortly. It was
We
just like
should
a slight
be,
disconnection.
yeah, we should be there shortly, guys. But yeah, junglers, I'm surprised Trundle started the Bulbasaur item. I would have gone the Squirtle item, to be honest.
The Squirtle item is broken. So
Yeah.
movement speed is absolutely insane. I don't know what the typical one is on Trundle, but Trundle being a melee champion, you would think he would want that movement speed to be able to catch up to you. But maybe it's going to be more of a utility focused Trundle, just trying to look for pillars in the late game once that item is fully stacked up. Obviously, it doesn't actually matter what jungle item you have until you hit all 40 of those stacks. So maybe it's just planning in advance and trying to make sure that everyone else is strong, as there's some fighting in the bot lane. A dredge line will land,
Ooh.
but level 1 for the side of
Oh
Sandbagging
my.
Rejects means the
That
Phantoms will win out in the trade.
Yeah, that level 2 advantage on the go for the Madman. That was some clean stuff, to be honest.
It very much was, but
We
now
boosted
level
the
2 for
re-engage.
Rejects. Yeah, Kez goes back in with the dredge line and gets a good amount of chunk damage back off. So now the health slightly more even and in Sandbagging Rejects' favor, thanks to that nice hook.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we can see like the all teams, because now the camera is on the red team. Like when I see like the Trundle pathing as well. Okay. So yeah, for Madman now, the wave is should be pushing onto them, and they have the information that the Kindred is pathing bot side. So are we gonna see them backing off away, because the Kindred is gonna make it bot side first?
Yeah, I mean, they should know about this, right? They had that ward there, so they will be likely to figure it out, but we're going to see the Kindred did get the RNG mark. It spawned on that bottom scuttle, so Kindred will be
Oh,
able to grab that first mark right away out of the gate, especially with that priority in the bot lane. JC and Kez able to move up and make sure that no funny business happens should Doohy get collapsed on. So it will just be an immediate early level, but Kez going back in with the dredge line
oh my.
again. Ollie trying to heal up with the warm hugs and puts down the cozy campfire, but it's still a very, very good trade for Sandbagging rejects.
Yeah, like the CS lead is not even mentionable. It's like only 3 CS. However, the HP lead is what is bigger here. And the mark, of course. Doohy is very happy with securing that mark already. He got his first mark before the first recall. And both junglers are just gonna rinse and repeat. Also, look at that vision on the bot side. There's not
He
an
has a
ant who
lot of vision.
can... Dude, there's not an ant that can escape out of that river without being seen, honestly.
True. That's
Crazy.
I'm pretty sure a ward just expired, and there's still 2 wards and a scuttle crab right in that river. So yeah, they're definitely gonna know. Although Remorin completely out of mana is probably going to take a reset, but Dirac has already used that TP, so it will just be an even lane stay after Remorin arrives back into that lane. But a gank to the top lane now as in goes Captain, and Money to Make trying to get that W off, but doesn't have enough grit for the big true damage. And now Doohy will be arriving to pick up the kill. First blood will go over to the Kindred, who didn't get the mark from it. But that's still 300 gold plus 150 going over to the Ornn.
Kindred is so happy right now. But we see that Varric right now is trying to trade something on the other side of the map. That is the Drake right now, which is the Mountain Drake being taken. And it's probably going the MadMen way, as the Kindred doesn't seem to be interested in crossing into that other side of the map.
Nope. And a nice ward there, by the way, from Money to make sure that the Gromp will not be stolen away, the marked objective for the Kindred, just while Varric was on the other side of the map doing that Drake. So it will be first objective going over to Phantoms. However, their top laner did pay for it a little bit with their life.
And we see Varric just running in straight to the Grump, trying to take that Grump to deny the mark. Okay, here's one thing I want to talk about when you're playing versus Kindred. I believe that sometimes people get so baited by the mark that they end up doing inefficient jungle path, or like ruin their own path just because they want to deny a mark, or making sure the Kindred doesn't get a mark. And I believe sometimes that is good and sometimes that is bad, right? For instance, if I was in Trundle's path, of course, I'm seeing hindsight and all seeing eyes. But if I made the decision to take the dragon at that moment, then in my head, that mark is already gone. And if that mark doesn't expire by the time I finish the dragon, then that mark is probably not going to go away anytime soon. And you can do an efficient pathing, again, from bot to top, secure that mark, because it's not gone while you're doing dragon, so it's not going to go away. As we see, Doohy is getting another mark on top side on the scuttle.
Oh my god, there's the second scuttle mark, and now Varric on the other side of the map will not be able to contest that if Doohy wants to just go there. No camps are up except for that scuttle, so that's probably where Doohy's going to be going, as half a minute until the next set of grubs spawn, so Varric will be able to reset, and Clyde just zoned away from the lane by Kez on this Nautilus. Has to go the long way around.
Oh.
And we'll miss out on a bit from that, but Doohy may be looking for another top gank, as in goes Captain once again. Money to Make trying to land with the face breaker, but does not pull anyone in and is slowed up. Tries to get the ultimate off,
Ooh.
But Doohy will still find the kill, and that's a flash burnt as well. Clyde now trying to find some damage onto Kez, but gets pulled back by the dredge line. JC coming around the corner is level 6, has the enchanted crystal arrow. Clyde flashing away, but still gets hit by the arrow. And now maybe they're looking to turret dive. One more auto will do it, but the barrier will save Clyde. He's going to try and get these minions before the bot lane of SR wrap back around and finish him off. He gets level 6, and he's just going to try and finish off the wave with the culling. But now the top skull is going to be contested. Rupture will land onto Remurin as Clyde Pipe dives in the bot lane, but the Munch Dirac takes down Remurin. And the Scuttle as well will go over to Doohy. 5 kills to 0 now for the Sandbagging rejects, and they're going to get the grubs as well.
These last minute and a half to 2 minutes have turned into a disaster for MadMen. It started with that top scuttle that we talked about. That was the reason why money to make was in that river. And the Kindred was waiting. He was waiting. He was seeing him. He was waiting. The Ornn came in. They collapsed on the set. The set died. Oli already made the rotation from bot lane to top lane to try to play for that grubbies, to try to play for the scuttle potentially as well. But they collapsed so fast on money to make. He died even before his teammates could make it there. And then Oli dies off screen. Poor Clyde couldn't even exist on bot lane because he has to play 1v2 versus the Nautilus and the Ashe. And now MadMen find themselves 3k behind, 2 objectives behind. Very tough position for them.
Yeah, it is not a very favorable position, especially with the comp that they have, where they want to get a little bit aggressive early, but nope, they find themselves in a massive hole as another enchanted crystal arrow. This time it will be cleansed away, but a TP's coming into the bot lane from Dirac, who has just picked up the rocket belt, trying to find more damage onto Clyde, who gets pulled in by the dredge line. And Doohy comes in to snipe that kill away. A rampage for the jungler of Sandbagging rejects, now 4-0 on this Kindred with a fully completed item already. And I don't think MadMen are going to have the advantage in Drakes for much longer, as the Call of the Forge God is here in the top lane. Will knock up money to make the Brittle Prop does so much damage. And now this set has to retreat to the safety of his own turret.
Yeah, that Kindred is a problem. Already have a Trinity Force at 10 minutes. This is how you want to be accelerated.
1.7k gold ahead. I think that is the most terrifying Kindred I've ever seen at 10 minutes in my life. And now the second Drake has spawned up. Doohy a level ahead. Varric is, well, 1.7k gold behind. So unless they want to look for the steal, which is incredibly unlikely, I think this Drake will just get chomped away. As now a dredge line, as they're trying to start a fight, JC is here with the damage. And down goes Varric, staying around a little bit too long, I'm afraid. And that's yet another kill for Sandbagging rejects. And that gold lead, now 4k. Kez maybe looking for something even more in the bot lane, as Doohy is just here in the mid lane, puts the mark onto Remurin, and will find the kill.
Oh my god.
Before Remurin can even get away with the Spirit Rush.
Guys, Kindred is 2.4k ahead of the Thunder. What is going on? This Kindred is just cashing in kills left and right. Wherever she goes, she turns dust into gold. This is a very, very, very rich Kindred right now.
I mean, Kindred is almost like an entire item's worth of gold up on this poor Trundle. And I mean, when you're this far ahead in the early game, it just snowballs out of control. Yeah. I don't see how you could stop this Kindred. Right? She can just walk wherever she wants. She can just waltz into your jungle with Nautilus and take all of your marks. And there's nothing you can do to stop her, because she will just beat you. She will just kill you.
Look at her, sitting in her mini throne like...
Look at what she's going to buy.
Boom, tabbies. Boom, pickaxe, and the longsword. Yeah, who needs a
500 gold back right there.
Who needs a pink ward when you can walk blind into enemy jungle and you know nothing's gonna happen to you? You know, who needs that?
That
No
is a
one needs
very.
that.
I mean, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
This Kindred can just face check the like 5 members of the enemy team and live somehow. Probably even go like find a kill and then get away. As yeah, nothing's gonna happen here
Absolutely.
in the top lane. But
Can,
this Kindred so disgusting.
can we see how many marks the Kindred have after this play? We see a bit of play on
Oh,
bot lane.
look at this invade. Oh, that enchanted crystal arrow is going to land onto Clyde, and Ollie will get pulled in and knocked up, and about everything that you can imagine. Cannot get the breath of life off because I believe they were stunned by the enchanted crystal arrow, and that's yet another kill. I mean,
However,
MadMen do get their first kill of the game, so
yeah,
there's a positive to be had there.
there is a positive, a support for a support. I believe it was the trade, so not bad overall, potentially.
True.
But
It could
Kindred
be
is
worse.
getting a mark. I believe. Yeah, can we check like how many marks she have right now because she's about to get one more. Oh yeah. Oh
5
yeah.
marks.
5
That's
marks.
the extra range breakpoint, isn't it? When you get 5, you get that extra range, I believe. And now money
Yeah.
to make is going to be
yeah.
marked in. Who he
Oh,
flashes
he's going
forward.
in.
The
He
dredge line
knows that's
lands,
free.
and
Oh my god.
just
That's
another
it.
kill to the Kindred.
That's it. Got down real fast right there. And we see that Sandbagging rejects their ping in the Herald. And I believe once that Herald spawn, there's gonna be 3 or 4 members of them just waiting for it in their embracing arms to take yet another objective in that game.
Yeah, 3k ahead now. That's an entire item ahead on just the Kindred. And not to mention everyone on Sandbagging Rejects is ahead. It's not just the Kindred who's ahead. Everyone's ahead. 1.2k in the top lane, 800 and 600 in the mid and bot lanes. And it's just such a massive gold lead. It's now 6k. The gold lead is now 6k in favor of Sandbagging Rejects.
Yeah, I believe MadMen need to pull some voodoo magic to make their way back into this game. This is very, I would say, unlosable position. As they also like, they're being efficient. These Sandbagging DJs, look, they're feeding Cho'Gath as well as this is being found.
Maybe, yeah. The death
No
charge
flash.
will knock up quite a little bit. JC's around the corner. The dredge line to try and get Kez to safety, but will be subjugated to death. So another nice pick. It will be traded for the Herald in the top lane, and that is probably better for the side of SR, especially because there was no shutdown on Kez either, as they had already gone down prior. But now maybe they can get the turret off of the back of that, which will be a nice objective bounty.
It's a little bit hard with Kindred there, but Ari is also here. We see a teleport coming in from the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, they're looking to dive. It's a 4v2 right now. Enchanted Crystal Arrow flashed away from. There's the Breath of Life to try and cleanse it away. Rupture doesn't land on anyone. And a TP's coming in from the set to make it a 5v5. Call of the Forge God from behind. It's a flank from the Ornn, but it doesn't hit anyone. Money to make, trying to walk up, takes so much damage. And now Captain Pump on the wrong side of the map. Charm lands, but the Searing Charge knocks him up. In goes the set, but it's too deep. He just gets munched on. And Money to make goes down. The only one dead in the fight so far, as the rest of the 5v4, now with MadMen Phantoms having lost a member, they're getting pushed into their turret. Dredgeline's going to land somehow, and Remorin will go down. 2 kills to Sandbagging Rejects. I don't know how they did it in that fight.
Oh my god, yeah, Kez is just having fun with limit testing his Nautilus hook, you know, like that hook. It doesn't seem to stop impressing me every time I see it, you know.
Yeah, you know, you got to hit one hook and then you got to miss one. That's how it works. You hit one,
yeah,
then you have to miss one just for BM, right? I mean, that was an absolutely insane hook on Remorin there to make it a 2-for-0, and it's just so hard for MadMen in this game now.
Yeah, this is, to be honest, that was kind of close, don't you think? Because considering the lead that was on the Kindred and the Ornn. Oh, what are we? We are in no man's land, Varric.
I don't think that's the correct decision there. We'll give over a feast stack, but now Remorin chasing after Captain here forces the flash out.
Run out of
We'll have the
ulti.
Foxfires very shortly. as
We
the bot
see
lane is
people
also
move into
moving.
river.
Yeah, they're moving into the river, and Clyde may be able to pick this one up. Culling with the dash forward
A
as they will
shutdown.
pick up the shutdown. That's a nice 600 gold injection to the Lucian to bring them. They are now like the only member on MadMen who is even slightly close to being in goal. My goodness, maybe not for long as Ollie gets pulled in by a dredge line, and Doohy will pick up yet another kill, and Clyde has to try and run for his life to stop this from happening. Doohy will pick up yet another mark off of this red buff. It will be the 8th mark for this Kindred of the game, as Varric is very much logically respecting this decision to back up.
Yeah, poor Varric, man. He cannot. His jungle is not his anymore. It's the Kindred jungle right now, and we see
think the
them
entire
spawning
map is the Kindred
Herald.
jungle.
The Herald.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
no,
hit
he
with the
crashed into the
pillar.
jungle pillar. Oh yeah.
That's nice. That's nice to see. So MadMen did secure the first tower. It is that tier 1 tower on the bot lane. As we also have Atakan spawning in 50 seconds from now.
I wonder who's going to get that. I wonder. Do you think MadMen have any chance of getting this Atakan?
I mean, listen, what Atakan does, it basically make you resistance-wise lose gold, right? So
True.
maybe I'm just saying, if MadMen can catch Sandbagging rejects, you know, slipping on that Atakan, maybe that's their way to get back into this game.
Okay, but does it make you lose 7,000 golds worth of stats?
Never mind. I was trying to make a point. I was trying to make it hopeful, you know, make it competitive, but it's doomed.
I mean, hey, maybe we get some misplays coming out of Sandbagging rejects. You could be right. There is always hope. There's always a possibility that a pick from MadMen could turn into the Atakan, and then there would be so many levels because they are down a good amount, and Atakan could be their key back into this game, but it's already being started up by Sandbagging rejects, and it will be shredded by Doohy. Already a half HP. Varric on the other side of the map just trying to answer back with some top turrets. But good lord, look at that Atakan get destroyed. Unless Remoran can steal it. Nope, it's just going to be eaten. Nope. And now Remoran's going to be engaged upon, immediately blown to smithereens. And Direct's just going to TP top.
Yep, to save that tier 2 tower. You can see MadMen already made the decision that they are giving the Atakan. The Ash Arrow misses, the Ornhorn is incoming.
Oh god, it's going to land, but Money to Make is bodyguarding to keep Clyde alive, but may go down in return. Nope, Varric is here to at least show their presence and keep their AD carry alive.
Yeah, Rimmer was trying to make the hero play there on the Atakan, but when you're as you mentioned you actually mentioned it in champion select. You see, if you're Ari and you're going into the 3 champions that were there, you know, the Cho'Gath, the Ornn, and the Kindred, you're not gonna have a good time.
No, and I mean, we saw that firsthand as she tried to go in and maybe steal something away, and immediately got knocked up, hit by a hook, and like ruptured, and then just eaten. And I wonder how many stacks does this Cho'Gath have now, because
10.
He's been eating things up all around the map.
Oh, he has stacks, and he has stacks in his items. Look at him. He has
10 Magi stacks too.
10 Magi stacks. Yeah, he got a ring and he turned it into a book.
True. 12 fee stacks on this Cho'Gath now. Oh my goodness, this Drake spawning up might be the 13th. 1440 extra health just from Cho'Gath ult.
That's a chunky boy right there.
Who needs Heartsteel? As look at this, MadMen, zero way to get into this fight, as just there goes another stack for Dirac, just chomping away on that Drake, and now the fight's going to be started by the Call of the Forge God. It will knock up Money to Make, who is trying to run away. Trash line's going to land, and it's going to be on Clyde, who immediately goes down. No AD carry for MadMen. Money to Make will find a kill onto Kez, though, and it will be a 1-for-1. As well, not a 1-for-1, a 1-for-2.
Survives with 0 HP.
Manages to get away. The Fox is chasing, but it's not enough damage, and Remoran just barely lives. The turret I don't think the same thing can be said for this mid lane tier 2. But a 1 for 2 is it's pretty good for MadMen. You know, every cloud has a silver lining. They
Yeah,
lose the Drake, they lose 2 people, and I mean, hey, at least they get one. They get a
but
support again.
they also lost Atakan. You know, I mean, they also lost Dragon, which also was a stack into the Cho'Gath. It's yeah, Kindred now. We just saw that you have 10 marks. It's the Cho'Gath has 16 Magi stacks with 14 feet stacks on Cho'Gath, yes, and he has 16 Magi's, and he has the upgraded tabbies. Look at those upgraded tabbies, by the way. 2 of them. How
Yeah.
is Lucian's gonna do damage?
I don't think he is, I'll be honest with you. He's got the Borg
Mhm.
and the Kraken Slayer. This guy's going to be
Mhm.
completely just tickling the front line. Look at the size of Dirac. How on earth are you ever going to hit anyone except for this Cho'Gath with the culling? And he's got like 1600 bonus health from the feast stacks, as well as the armored advance and the rift maker. This guy's not going to die. Varric may be caught out now. Kez is around the corner, will
Whoa.
hook into a wall. So
Yeah, but
that wall is
look
not
for
going
the next
anywhere.
hook. Look for the next hook. We already established when he hooks a wall, the next hook is gonna be a big one. Okay, not
Okay,
this one,
blind.
maybe the one after. The one after.
He's channeling his power. One hook
Yeah.
misses, the next hook misses again. That means the
Oh,
third hook is
Lucian
going to be
just
absolutely insane. Remember him
Lucian
going
just
in?
died to the Orn.
Wait, what?
Wait,
And
is he
now the
gonna
R is going to die to the Orn. Oh,
Oh
my
my
god!
god! What did you see?
Um, that's a pretty beefy Forge God right there. And now they're just pushing for this inhibitor. I think they can go even further here. Orn's still alive in the top side. I don't think he has a Warmog, so he's not going to be able to heal all the way back up. But it's still a 5v3 in terms of alive players at the moment. And look at this gold graph. Look at this gold graph. You can't even read the numbers on the side. They're so small. Varric has to flash away from the enchanted crystal arrow. Will still get knocked up by the depth charge, but the flash buys enough space for him to get to safety. But Baron up and ready for the taking. And Sandbagging rejects have almost certainly got their eyes set on that, as a TP will probably come back in from Captain Punkul, and Doohy is just eating away at all of Varric's poor jungle camps. It's a 3-level gap here in the jungle, a 3-level gap in the top lane, a 3-level gap in the mid lane, and a 2-level gap between the ADCs. MadMen Phantoms are not having fun this game.
Yeah, and wanna pick this Kindred, you know, like we saw the V1 Trundle. I mean, sure, a strong jungle, but it's not like that. It is the strongest jungle. Like there are stuff to play into it, and Doohy is proving that Kindred is one of those picks that you can go to. Surely a harder pick to execute on with the mark mechanics, with the fact that you actually need to have good mechanics overall for like kiting, range, and everything. And he's just proven that yeah, you could win versus a Trundle. You just
Yeah.
need to be good at the game, I guess.
Well, the thing about the Kindred is she's hard to play when she doesn't have the stacks. But I don't think Doohy
Yeah.
didn't have stacks for very long. A charm will land onto Kez, though, who is caught out a little bit.
He has
He's
flash.
very, very tanky, though. He's
He's
ghosting into
okay.
this fight. Tries to land the dredge line. It will not land. But money to make silenced up. Can't use the Haymaker.
Whoa!
Flash away from Captain. As Doohy finds another kill. Remorin's dead. Another dredge line's going to land. As the Breath of Life will keep money to make alive for now, but Captain is here with a TP, and that's a double kill for Doohy. Oh my god, so much damage. Flashing forward, trying to find Ollie. It's a triple, it's a quadra kill. Money to make is the 5th, but the Haymaker from Doohy is so low. Doohy is so low. Can he find the pentakill? It's a pentakill for Doohy on the Kindred to seal the deal and take game 1. An absolutely monstrous performance by the jungler of Sandbagging Rejects.
Nah, how good is Doohy, guys? That was awesome. That was such a nice performance by Doohy.
What
And
a play.
we gotta bring it all the way to that moment on the second mark on the top scut is we're spawning. Doohy, so money to make, clearing the ward on that top brush. He waited for his team to collapse. They collapsed on the set, And then it was just like a dominoes effect. Like everything just kept snowballing from the top to the kill on Lucian, to killing Oli on top side, to taking the mark, to taking the grubbies, and they just didn't stop. This Kindred was a menace this game. Such a great performance by him.
Truly. All right, we will be going to a short break before the start of game 2, but both of these teams are going to be able to get their stuff in order and ready for this next game. We will see you very, very shortly for the next game in the series. Okay, we are back. Draft has started for game 2, and sides have been swapped. MadMen Phantoms have opted to put themselves on the red side this time, and it will be Sandbagging Rejects on the blue side now, opening up with the Zoe ban. Pantheon ban is going to be kept, as well as the Ambessa ban, so some similar bans from the last game coming through. as none of those champions from the previous game are going to be able to be picked up by either of these teams. And the Syndra and Gwen, yeah, all of these things, we've seen them before. Now, what's going to be new is the first pick here. Sandbagging Rejects are going to
Oh,
lock the Varus in. A very safe AD carry pick. Makes a lot of sense as a first pick. And is pretty strong, all things considered.
as you see, the answer straight out the Jarvan just to lock in the Varus with that cage. We saw kind of, I would say like the last game, one of the issues that MadMen had is that they also did not have a go button. The Jarvan, a really good go button in my opinion. Oh, they just go in like dive, no?
They're
Like
going very,
Jarvan,
very go. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Last
nice.
game they didn't have a lot of follow up for the Ari. This time, Jarvan and a Kai'Sa. There's a lot of dive potential here, especially onto this Varus, very immobile AD carry. Right, obviously a very flexible champion, but you can't really opt
Ooh.
into a lot of mobility here. So if you get locked up in that Cataclysm and jumped on by a Kai'Sa, it's very difficult for you to do anything. But of course, the Jin Zhao and the Braum, very good counter engage champions. The Braum, very good at stopping you from going in, and the Jin Zhao can just knock you away with that Crescent Guard. So, some good answers to what we see coming out from MadMen Phantoms.
Yeah, you could say both teams are just building towards their end goal, and both team have an understanding of what you want to do just by seeing one or two champions that you already picked. They saw the Jarvan and the Kai'Sa insta-take that Xinqiao and the Braum, which will allow Varus to have a lot of space so he can just be comfortable and do as much damage as he could. We do see the mill. I do believe that it's potentially picked because it's maybe a comfort pick for Rimuru, probably. Just trying
Yeah,
to
very
secure that.
feasible. It was banned out in the second phase, I believe, of the last game. So
Yeah.
going to be able to pick that one up before the second ban phase comes around, as we see all of the same bans except for the Mel in the second phase, which is going to be swapped out for the Rel, as the support was picked first rotation in last game. But the Mel is a bit more of a poke champion. You want to sit back and do some poking. So we'll see how that's going to incorporate itself. You probably still want some hard engage in the support role, which is why that Rel is going to be banned out by Sandbagging Rejects. So it takes away a lot of the champions that you can go for towards that dive composition. But the Leona, also a good choice when it comes to engaging and diving into the backline with the Zenith Blade.
Yeah. I can tell you that Ollie, he was the support in my team in Division 2, and his rel was a menace. I do believe he has almost 100% win rate on the rel or something close to. As we see, push is being picked.
Dr. Mundo.
Dr.
Okay.
Mundo.
That is okay. So it is the blind Dr. Mundo. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to be answered. As of course, if you can set him behind early on, it's very difficult to play, especially with that lane Dr. Mundo, right? It's not going towards the jungle. That's going to be the Jin Zhao. So you need those fundamentals on point, of course, as Alois would say, to make sure that you don't fall behind, that you can be relevant once you get that that Warmogs and you get towards that passive where you can start healing yourself back up and just making a lot of havoc on the side lane and all around the map. But there are a lot of champions that do incredibly well at shutting down that Mundo early. The Aatrox makes a lot of sense because you can pop off that passive shield with one of the Qs and then the rest of them can still knock him up and you can get quite aggressive. So Aatrox is a pick that you commonly see going in towards that Mundo.
Yeah. And to be honest, I had no idea who Captain Pungo is. But when I heard our protection tell us that's actually Kiyoya, then I knew who that was. And you were talking about the fundamentals. And Kiyoya is someone who I would say have a really good fundamentals. on his matchups and top lane. I don't believe I've seen him play the Mundo before, but he developed so much from the last time I've seen him, and he probably can perform. He probably can reach the stage where he can play the push music. You know.
The push music will be turned on at some point throughout this game, and yeah, it's gonna be tough to navigate the Aatrox matchup, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how these junglers are going to respond to this, right? Because if you can get enough jungle attention to help you scale up on this Mundo, you can really become a massive, massive threat. Once, I mean, it's really that break point. Once you get the 1350 or 1400 bonus health or whatever it is that is required to give you that passive, and you can just do whatever you want, really. You can push a wave, take a bunch of damage, and then just walk away and heal it all back up. So it's really, the onus is on the Aatrox here to garner enough of a lead before that Mundo can find himself with the Warmog's passive. And if the Aatrox can do that, and a fed Aatrox is absolutely terrifying into a Mundo. In a team fight, that passive, the Deathbringer stance, he does percent max health damage, and then it heals you based on it. So one auto attack on a Mundo in a team fight is going to heal you massively. And Aatrox is a champion that thrives when ahead. So it's a very, very volatile matchup in the top lane.
Yeah, I remember Aatrox got buffed like last patch or the patch before, wasn't it? With his passive auto attack, the healing got buffed, right?
Potentially. I know they changed it a lot around with the they do a lot of changing with whether it's physical or magic damage, but I don't actually you might be right. They might have buffed it up recently, which would mean this matchup is even more insane or even more Aatrox favored. But I guess also, we'll find out.
3 Qs, each one does a knock up and an E that is also considered as a CC. So Mundo's not gonna have his anti-CC shield for a long periods this game. Let's just say that.
Yeah, if you can knock that shield off, it just creates so many more opportunities for the Mel to land the Solar Snare, and of course, Ollie to land any of that CC coming out of the Leona. And that's really what you want to do as that Aatrox. You can get off that shield, and then your team can capitalize on it. And of course, the Cataclysm isn't technically, you know, a form of hard CC. So even with that shield on the Mundo, you can always Jarvan ult him straight away. And despite Mundo going where he pleases, as his passive would have you believe, you still can't walk through a solid wall.
Yeah, you just got put in a cage. Everybody get to play the game, and he just get to watch and maybe spam Qs or something.
Exactly.
So last game we did agree that Sandbagging Rejects had the easier to play, better all around team comp. What do you think this game to you?
I think this time I would probably give it to MadMen Phantoms. I like the composition that they've drafted up, but I think it's slightly more cohesive with the Jarvan, the Kai'Sa, and the Leona. Whereas, you know, there's a lot of different things, but I think Sandbagging Rejects, there's definitely avenues for them to play out the game. I think it's so difficult to pick one comp and be like, this comp is definitely better than the other comp, because obviously there are things that one composition does better than the other. But I think, in my very unprofessional opinion, I would say MadMen Phantoms have the better draft this game.
Yeah, I do agree. They do have a lot of tools. However, there are two things that I think make it a little bit harder for MadMen Phantoms, is that I do believe the burden of execution is on them to get to the Varus, to kill the Varus. And I also don't see like how the Mel fits in with their identity as a team comp. However, in VL and these amateur type of tournaments, I always do believe that comfort beats identity always. If you're comfortable on a champion, then you will find a way to make such a champion work in whatever situation. And we might just see that from Rimmerun.
Absolutely. I have to completely agree with you. I mean, personally, I hate Mel. I think she's a terrible champion. But I mean, especially in a composition like this, I don't think she fits it very well as much as something like even the Ari from last game would. Of course, that's not playable anymore, but I think there are champions that fit the composition better than the Mel, but it's always like you mentioned, it's comfort, right? It's very much about what you are good at playing. And sure, if there's a champion that fits your comp better, but you're worse at playing it, it's obviously not going to perform as well as something that's maybe a little bit worse. But, we're not at the highest level. We're not watching Faker versus Chovy. So I think it's really, really about the comfort.
Yep. And I can tell you, for the bot lane, the 2v2, I do prefer Sandbag rejects a little bit better, in my opinion. The Varus, I do believe that champion is so strong in so many different ways. Like, for instance, this game, this Varus can go poke. Is he poke Varus? No, he isn't. But he could have gone poke Varus and he could have been such as useful. Or maybe even more useful than auto attack Varus, honestly.
Yeah, it's a very, very flexible champion. I think the lethal tempo makes sense, proccing the Braum passive, then with the relatively short range of a lot of these champions, right? If you can get in an auto attack, I mean, it's actually, I'm not sure which Varus is better here, but the Kai'Sa, I mean, they're very much looking to try and collapse on you. So if you can be kept alive by your Braum and by your Xin Zhao, and you can get those auto attacks off, you can still do a substantial amount of damage.
Yeah, exactly. So we see a standard 5 point. So far, there doesn't seem to be any crazy shenanigans going to happen.
Well, maybe some shenanigans here. Kez is here trying to proc the concussive blows. Stun is going to land onto Varric. He's trying to flash away. Auto attack. He's just barely not enough. Varric kept alive by the skin of his teeth, but will have to burn the flash.
And has to go to base? He's going to be so late to his camps right now. He's probably going to be a whole camp behind just because of that interaction on mid lane. That's actually huge for the Jin Zhao.
Yeah, that opens up so many opportunities for this Xin Zhao to do whatever. You could look for an invade here, could just do whatever you want, really. I mean, that's you see Xin Zhao already moving on to that Gromp pretty much as Varric has just arrived at the blue buff. And it's obviously not as good as getting a full kill, but the tempo advantage in the early game could be incredibly substantial, as Kez walking up takes a massive trade in the bot lane though, and has to try and back off Ollie, lands another Shield of Daybreak onto JC. This is a very low bot lane from SR, and level 2 advantage is just about in their favor, so they will be able to push it back and force Clyde and Ollie off of the wave. But health advantage is there for Phantoms.
Yeah, and the push is also secured for Phantom. For Sandbagging rejects. However, one interesting thing is that we don't see the Varus picking the clans as we see Ollie going in.
Yeah, Kez tries to put up that Unbreakable to run away as fast as possible. JC trying to do some damage, but Ollie trying to take down Kez alone as Clyde trying to kite out the concussive blows, gets hit with another one despite JC. Who's going to proc the passive first? It will be JC. The exhaust and the barrier out of the bot lane of SR, and the ignite and the barrier from Phantoms. The ignite was used earlier though, so another gank. Yeah, here's the potential gank.
Advantage. This Xin Zhao is already on the bot lane while the Jarvan is still.
Can they bait this though? Winter's Bite's gonna land. He's here, goes in, Audacious Charge, forces the flash out of Clyde. And it won't get any more, but that is a good flash that the Kaiser does not have for the next 5 minutes.
That's a really good timer by the Xinjiao and the early information that he had. Because when they did that interaction in mid lane, someone actually placed a ward on the Raptors. I believe it was Dewey. And because of that, he knew where the Jarvan started. So he had his pathing planned out. Oh, Dewey's waiting in the bush.
Oh my goodness. Ollie trying to kite it out or trying to stop Dewey from going further, but he manages to flash past Ollie, and now he might get a double kill as the flash forward. JC tries to land the piercing arrow, but Ollie has fast enough fingers to flash it away. Maybe a counter gank here in the top lane from Varric, as Money to Make gets that shield off, and Varric is now here in the top lane. Flag and drag will be flashed away from by Kayoya, and just will live barely. But that's another flash that's going to be burnt out around the map.
Yeah, so now for Duhi, he need to catch up a little bit on tempo, clearing those camps and then catching up with his top camp. So there is a little bit of tempo advantage for Varric. However, I would say Duhi basically won the first rotation of camps based on what happened, because he secured a very important lead on bottom lane. It is an assist to his Varus, and he secured the kill, a first blood for himself.
Yeah, and also the flashless Kaiser, which JC did use their own flash, but it now can't be punished by a Kaiser flash. As a potential invade here from Varric, maybe trying to catch out the bot lane of Sandbagging rejects if they try and push out a little bit too overzealously.
No,
now wrapping around. Varric goes in, JC doesn't have the flash. And now the stun lands from the concussive blows. JC trying to get propped by that passive.
Oh.
The plasma will do the trick. And that lead for JC very much gone now, as that wave also finds itself under the tower. A nice answer by Varric to try and get this bot lane back in it.
Interesting to see. Yeah, I wonder like how much gold JC recalled on in the first time, because he has a cull in his inventory right now.
He does, yeah. He went and bought that straight away after that first back, and came back and didn't even get a single stack of it before, or well, before he went down.
He got 5. He got 5. It's okay.
5 stacks on the cull. Okay, that's acceptable. Still not the greatest thing. He will see that Drake is killed though, and we'll go for an invade. Dirac level 6, but Remorin will just about hit level 6 as well. As so do these top laners, and it's just a bit of scrapping around the map. The cannon almost missed the cannon. Almost missed the cannon, but yeah. Missed the cannon.
To be fair, it seems that Varric is going to be a little bit homeless because he lost his top camps, but I don't think he cares so much because of the lead he managed to secure. A dragon, a kill for his Kaisa, and it seems he's gonna find some yummy bot camps right now. Very good pathing by Varric. Actually, very good awareness as well to realize his top camps are gone. Is no reason to go there right now.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we saw Ollie moving up towards that top side, spotted out that Dewey was doing those Krugs. So Varric knows Dewey on the top side of the map will not have taken those chickens and those bot camps. And now Ollie is arriving back into the bot lane to try and find another pick here in the bot lane. Kez trying to run away, but it's a level 6 on this Kaiser. JC only level 4, and yet another kill is going to go over to Clyde.
Clyde is eating good. Is eating good right now. Already 250 gold secured. Gonna push the wave. Maybe secure a plate. Have a really nice recall. And get that closer to his first item.
Absolutely, yeah. That wave is going to be heavily denied some of those minions from JC. And the cull does mean that, you know, being a little bit behind isn't going to be as... Like, it's not going to be as detrimental as if you didn't have that cull, because of course when you complete it you will still get a little bit of extra gold back. But Clyde very much firmly in the lead at the moment, and of course not having the cull means Clyde's going to be even stronger than the gold lead would entail, and the level lead still about an entire level for this Kaiser. But grubs are going to be secured now by Sandbagging rejects.
Yeah, it's a trade for the Drake and the play on bot lane, so it's kind of fair. So for either teams, I like if I was MadMen, I would be a little bit sad that we're losing these grubbies, because I think they could be huge for the Aatrox, especially later on, and I would say they're also big for Mundo. Like you don't want to give Mundo 3 grubbies. This guy is going to be deleting towers later on.
Yeah, I very much agree. And the Mundo has managed to keep even with this Aatrox. The CS pretty much equal in the top lane, which is very good for Mundo. That's exactly what you want as the Mundo. If you can not fall behind, as maybe an all-in from Dirac in the mid lane, Remorin very low on mana, has to flash away, twofold Hex, does not do enough damage. Neither does the Weirding, and Remorin will be able to live, but Varric waiting around in a bush will find the flag and drag as the maximum dosage is popped with a Cataclysm, and the flash has already been used, which means that Koyoya will not be able to run away.
And the Fita 4 warfare is secured for MadMen this game. They used a lot on that Mundo. However, there is nothing really going on. We see that Xinqiao is sticking around on that bot lane. They will see him probably on the ward and the Tribush, and now they have full info on the whereabouts of that jungler.
Absolutely, they do indeed, which means that they will at least play safe for the moment being, as Varric also coming towards this bot lane. The Drake will be the next objective on the cards for both of these teams. So these junglers are in around about the right place, but I highly doubt it's going to be immediately started up. It's only the second Drake of the game. I don't think it's going to be the most contested thing of all time, but all of these lanes pretty even at the moment. Varric once again trying to sneak in for a cheeky little lane pet, but there's a ward. There is a ward
now
in
they
that
see
bush.
him.
It's going to spot him out. So JC and Kez will know to play safe. Ollie looking for a solar flare. It's going to land. Zenith Blade in and a flash forward from Varric. JC has to try and flash away, but Clyde is flashing for the kill. Will find it, but Doohy is here now, and it might be a 2-for-1 in response. A bit of an overcommitment from Clyde. Remorin is around the corner, and Varric maybe trying to bait a little bit more. Goes in with the flag and dragon. Remorin is here. Crescent Guard tries to knock them away, but Remorin is going to get collapsed on by Dirac now. You forgot that the enemy team also has a mid laner, and that's 3 kills back over to Sandbagging Rejects, and they're going to find themselves yet again in the lead.
Such a hefty price for a merely Varus with a Vampiric Scepter and a cull of all items in the game. It seems that like that was an overforce. Yeah, that was an overforce. Once you got the Varus flash, you didn't really need to dive him. You could have just taken that HP lead, go into the Drake, and secured your advantage that way, but they really wanted to get the Varus there. But it was a very pricey Varus.
Oh no! Dirac going between worlds in the top lane. Money to make his healing up so much, though. What on earth? This Aatrox is massive. He gets the reset, and now Dirac has to back away. That guy just ended an entire world. Okay, that's Aatrox things, I guess. Aatrox things, no worries. Don't worry about it. As Remorin, a little bit caught in the mid lane, but Doohy's not going to be able to go any further. That was disgusting. The Aatrox just healed so much. It's the full... what's it called? The full hubris now for money to make in the top lane, which is incredibly good, especially because Mundo doesn't really find himself buying armor. He's a very health stacking champion. So lethality incredibly good into Mundo.
Mundo has 3 belts.
He does. He has 3 belts.
Has 3 belts on his belly right now. We see a collapse on the bot river.
Yes, indeed. Doohy's going in, but Kez is around the corner to try and keep him alive. Glacial Fissure hits 2, but the Cataclysm and the Golden Cliff shutdown goes over to Varric. And Doohy went in a bit too far this time. It was Doohy instead of Clyde. So
yeah, he managed to buy some time with that Crescent ulti of his, but it wasn't enough. Although Crescent Guard, yes. Thank you, production. Thank you very much. The Crescent Guard, although as a jungle player, like Doohy probably best jungler Div 1, one of the best, the top two at least. I would say that this Titanic Hydra, it's good to secure the knockup pretty early, but there are good items in the game that can, like better items in my opinion, like the first item, the Sundered Sky, or yeah, I think it's probably a better item. What do you think? Do you?
I think into a composition like this, right, there's a lot of short range and melee. They've got 3 melees on Phantoms. They've got a Kai'Sa, who is naturally short range. I think 525 attack range. She's definitely on the shorter side. So a Sundered Sky makes a lot of sense here, right? You can proc it off of a lot of members on Phantoms. So I think you're right. The Sundered Sky provides so much value into melees and into short range, where you can hit multiple targets and get an insane amount of healing off. So into more ranged heavy comps, I think the Titanic Hydra makes sense, but here Sundered Sky is incredibly strong.
Yeah, we see the gold graph. The lead is a little bit skewed toward the MadMen. I mean, it's very like 100 gold diff. It's basically nothing. And I wonder, other than top lane and bot lane, where do you think that MadMen can snowball this game going forward now? As we see a very weird lane assignments.
Yeah, it's Remorin answering in the bot lane, but the Mel is reasonably able to shove out the waves. Never mind. Mel's just going to
giving the tower?
Yeah, give the tower. But they will pick up the Herald in response. So that's pretty good. The first turret objective will go over. But I believe that will put
That's
the feats of strength even. I think that's even on the feats of strength now, right? Because 2 objectives aside, and one team has first turret, one team has the first 3 kills. So it'll be next objective to secure the feats of strength.
Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting what they're doing right now.
In this bush.
Jarvan is in the base right now.
Ollie maybe caught out.
Here.
Winter's Bite is going to stun him up, and Doohy goes in with the audacious charge.
Nope.
That's a kill over to the Varus. That's a kill over to the Varus. And now the goal lead in the bot lane is completely even. And JC also 8 stacks on that Cull, so is almost at that point where they get the entire 300 gold injection, which is very good for this Varus.
Yeah, and soon he will be cashing out on that Cull. But like the last minute and a half, I didn't like how MadMen played the macro. Like they gave up 2 towers for health. I don't see
it's going to be dropped in the mid lane, as it's going to be run straight to that mid turret, but the Drake is still going to be gone. The Drake
snowball it into top lane. Oh, they're going top lane.
Oh my god, they are. Well,
that's not going to reach. He needed to take a different path if he wanted to reach it. Oh yeah, that will never reach. Yeah.
He's crashed through a wall.
Yeah.
And yeah, while that happened, Drake, and thus consequently the feats of strength, went over to Sandbagging rejects, and they only got 1 mid turret from it, which isn't even worth considering they had to use a Herald to crack it open as well. And that Herald, they also gave over 1 or 2 turrets for it as well. So very much not worth for Phantoms, I have to say.
Nah, not worth. They kind of made a blunder in the last 2 minutes with their macro. However, it is bad, but it's not that bad. Like the Aatrox is still ahead. The AD carry is ahead. We see a fight by the mid laners on bot lane.
Yeah, Flash will be forced out of Remorin.
Flash out.
That's an early flash, but I respect it. There's a lot of burst damage that this Aurora can do, Dirac, especially with that Luden's companion. But now we have a 4v3 on the top side of the map, as there are 4 members of MadMen Phantoms here just trying to push in this tower. They're not going to be able to get it though. Doohy waiting around the corner to ensure that no funny business happens yet again. And there's really not going to be a fight here. No objective to fight around. The turret is just too safe for the moment being. And now Dirac maybe going to be tried to fight by Remorin, who lands the Solar Snare. Root does connect onto Dirac. The rebuttal doesn't send much back though, and one combo! This Aurora is I hate this champion. I despise Aurora as a champion.
This like, how is that? It's okay to exist, this champion. I didn't get it right, games. Like,
One combo.
this champion lands 2 spells on you, and it's, you know, it's not the most difficult combo to land, okay? And then 70% of your health is gone. How is that fair? I don't know.
Press 2 buttons at the same time and almost insta-kill someone.
Yeah, and then you look at the other side, you're like, oh man, such a poor champion that is getting bullied. Oh wait, it's a Mel. So it's like, yeah. Mid lane in fucking 2025 is such a cool place to be in.
Tell me about it.
Oh,
but now money to make.
top lane 1v1.
A kill onto Kayoya, who does have the tier 1 turret available, does have the maximum dosage, and is pretty darn fast. So we'll be able to run away and heal up with the Warmogs, which has now been acquired. So fun time is over for this Aatrox as Mundo heals back to full HP for fun.
Okay, so the game has been shifting toward sandbagging rejects in the last minute.
Oh.
We see they're not going in. Oh, that
healing
so
though.
low.
He just about manages
side.
to live as Kez
Light,
sends
light.
in the Glacial Fissure, but it's not enough to find a kill. The turret, though, will go down, and now Kez trying to find the concussive blows will land Dirac with the combo onto Ollie. Takes him quite low, but he has the Eclipse to keep him alive. A good bit of resistances as the Solar Flare is going to land to try and peel Barrick away. Doohy's around the corner, though. He's coming in for the flank. He goes in, Audacious Charge will send the Wind Becomes Lightning. It will land on Barrick. Ollie's solo has to flash away. Crescent Guard and the flash with the 3 Talon Strike. Wind Becomes Lightning, but Varric will trade it back, a 1-for-1 and a shutdown going over to Varric as Doohy burnt the flash to go in. Probably could have been okay with a couple of those summoners burnt, but went 1-for-1 in the end as the shutdown will be given over. JC will be able to take that mid turret though. So everyone being pushed back towards their fountain from Phantoms is pretty good thing for sandbagging rejects. They can get that mid lane turret and take a nice reset before this Drake's gonna spawn.
Yeah, I wonder what happened around mid lane, because we saw that that JC was pushing mid lane. The Doohy was around him, and they managed to find Clyde somehow as the shenanigans were going in top lane. But I think the approach that MadMen are going about in regard to top lane this game is kind of not how you want to play it. Like, your Aatrox had such a healthy, nice lead on the Mundo. You did secure that for him. You just want to make it turn it into an island, and you want to play elsewhere around the map, where you can secure leads on your Kai'Sa, on your Mel, and you just play the game that way. As soon as you go to top lane, I'm sorry to say, but I think that Sandbag and Rejects are just playing way better macro-wise and around their top lane in the meantime.
Yeah, that Kai'Sa that was ahead, a lot of effort put in towards that Kai'Sa. Now 800 gold behind JC on the Varus. Even despite being up 11 CS, up 2 kills, is certainly down in gold thanks to a lot of these objectives, the turrets and all of that being picked up. And a little bit of trading happening here as MadMen just try and find some pick, but there's always someone on SR that can answer it back. There's so much chunk damage coming out of Dirac, and it's so hard to play around any of these objectives, which is why Soul Point has to be given over to Sandbagging Rejects. As look at Dirac and Kez just standing here, not letting anyone walk into this choke. Ollie's trying to get the ultimate, but it just completely misses. And now money to make is here. The Drake will be stolen by Varric though. As
oh my god!
JC's gonna go down. Hang on a minute, what is happening? Ollie off to the side. The rest of the team is here. Mel has a triple kill already. Triple kill for Remorin, but this Mundo is so tanky. Remorin trying to walk away, stack up that overload passive, and that's going to be the quadra kill.
Kill.
Oh my goodness. Phantoms
Wow.
turn it around somehow. They managed to
How
steal the Drake too.
how was that legal? Oh
Wait.
my god. Oh
Ah.
my god.
Okay.
Okay,
All
unofficial
right.
penta. Unofficial penta,
Unofficial
Rimuru, good job.
pentakill for Reverend.
I mean, okay, yeah, it doesn't say pentakill, but you know, it's unofficial. We're gonna recognize it maybe in stream, but it's not gonna be registered for history. Good job. We see them taking Atakan right now. Can Sandbagging
I don't
rejects
think.
make
Yeah.
it? I don't think
I
so, right? Like this
don't think they
Atakan
have
is
any way
just,
to contest.
yeah, it's gonna be in the bank.
This
Oh
game's
my
been
god,
flipped on
what?
its head. How have they done
Yeah,
this?
I'm just baffled. How did Varric manage to get close to the dragon? Like the zoning that Dirac was doing to keep everyone away with his combo from the Drake was just insane. And I didn't see a single red dot across it. Suddenly, I just see an Aatrox of and a Jarvan in the Dragon Pit, just killing everybody. And stealing the
I
Dragon for a good measure, yeah?
Yeah, I thought it was just going for the steal and they were gonna like give up their lives for the steal. But then I look at my screen and everyone on Sandbagging Rejects is just dead. There's a triple kill for Remerin, and somehow Phantoms take the gold lead back in a game that looked slightly less hopeless than the previous one, but still very, very favored towards Sandbagging Rejects.
Yeah, and Rimuru, we did talk about comfort. It sure didn't look great like early to mid game, but now this mill is kicking into gear. And unofficial Penta, we have to mention that, but did a lot of damage in the last team fight. A lot of people got hurt because of that mill.
Yeah, that they very much did. Then now 5-1-1, 1.8k ahead. As you can see, everyone else has the lead on the side of Sandbagging Rejects, but this Mel almost 2k ahead, and now maybe trying to get some gold onto this Kai'Sa. As in they go, Solar Flare's gonna land, and this Mundo can't move. Money to make will pick up the kill. Remerin on the bot lane though.
Remero's dead. That
Solo
was a
bolo by Nuhi. It was a solo bolo, but the Baron cannot solo bolo all 4 members of MadMen Phantoms. And it's going down pretty quickly. The Kai'Sa has so much DPS. Doohy completely unseen on the other side of the map. And they just snuck the Baron. 4v the Baron. And I mean, Inhibitor will go down. Sandbag and Rejects will at least pick up that. But
Are they going to lose that tier 2 on bot
happy.
lane? Are they going to lose that tier 2 on bot lane?
I believe so. I can't quite see the health, but it's
it
looking
could be a
pretty low.
hefty. It could be a hefty price for that Baron. Okay, it's not that bad. I mean, yeah, this mid lane inhib. I mean, you have Baron, so do you really care? Probably not. You're going to be around mid lane most of the time. You're going to push the wave and then move into a side lane. But however, you always need to be thinking about that mid wave that is always going to be pushing toward you.
Yeah, absolutely, you do indeed. But they're going to be able to answer back with a couple of turrets of their own, thanks to this Baron. This Mundo walking forward slow. Clyde, maybe a bit too far forward, has to flash away Varric. Pops the Cataclysm to try and run away. Ollie goes in with his Zenith Blade. Solar Flare doesn't do enough damage. Dirac tries to get in there, but misses the weirding. Clyde will go down to Dirac's ultimate, though, as Money to Make is trying to heal up with this World Ender, but just too squishy with the Lethality Aatrox. And that's a 3-for-0. Sandbagging Rejects have yet again brought it back. They might just end the game. Remerin wasn't there in that fight. The Fed member was nowhere to be seen on the top side of the map.
Yeah,
but at least they're alive.
Yeah, like Remero had teleport as well. You have to wonder like how was the communication was. We see Sandbag and Reject deleting those towers. The Nexus is exposed. Sandbag and Rejects looking to steal game 2 away from the hands of MadMen Phantoms. That was an insane turnaround of a game.
What a crazy series. What a crazy sequence of events there. Remerin has to try and defend, but is completely unable to with the rest of their team being dead. And Sandbagging Rejects pull it back again, and now they're on match point.
Wow. Wow. That game turned so quick. And I have to wonder, you saw Sandbagging rejects on that midwave. They were looking for blood. Like they were running in straight out. Tur Kaisa, Tur Jarbing. Everybody else was collapsing except the Mel who had teleport. Was that a communication issue? Probably.
Most likely, right? It's a new player that's just been brought in. All right. We will be heading to a break very quickly, though, so that these teams can get into their next draft very, very shortly. And it's potentially the last game of the series if Phantoms can't bring it back and take their first game. So we will be seeing you very, very shortly. But for now, we will be sending you to a break.
Vayne.
Vayne is interesting.
Vayne is very interesting. With 0 tanks already picked in the draft. I don't know. Like, can Vayne play when there's a Nico in the game? I'm not sure.
It will be difficult, to say the least. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like you can just engage on the Vayne, and it's difficult. The Cassante hover, it's going to be locked in.
For Kioya. He's very comfortable in this champion, let's just say.
I suppose that
As
provides some value for the Vayne, right? You've got some kind of front line to hit on, but with the Nocturne and the it's
oh, wait,
potentially going to be the support Nico.
I might have baited us. Yeah, it's okay. Dirac is not gonna take the Nico. It seems that, as you mentioned, the Nico is going into that support role, and we will see a cheeky way on the mid lane versus the Oriana, which makes sense. Like he's a high range champion, and Oriana does struggle into champions that can outrange her, the artillery mages, and Tway is definitely one of the best artillery mages right now in the game.
Oh my god, it's Vladimir top, Vayne ADC. What is this? Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I don't know what I'm seeing, but I'm liking it nonetheless. I think it's a bit of a wacky draft, but it's gonna
It
be
is,
fun to watch.
yeah. You got the Vladimir, like the safe scaling pick into the Cassante. Like, I don't think Cassante can finish the Vladimir as he's scaling into this game. We have a Vayne in the game, guys. Like, into a Nocturne, Nico, Zaya. We have the Oriana Volibear. One thing I'm noticing in the MadMen team comp is that they do have a lot of AP for the amount of champions that they have. Like, the Oriana is not gonna have her freedom building one-shot build. Like, there's going to be a lot of MR on the side of Sandbagging rejects, which can limit the usefulness of that Oriana one-shot combo potential.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, there is the potential for the volley. I mean, Volley Bear builds whatever the hell he wants. He
Yeah,
can build AD. He can build. He just builds everything. To be honest with you, like
yeah.
I don't know what the typical Volley Bear is, but it's probably got some crit in there. Some AD, some AP, some tank. So it won't be like the heaviest AP threat, but of course this Cassante will be laning into a Vladimir, and with double AP solo lanes, that guy's definitely going to pick up some early magic resist.
I do believe that Rukern item will be coming this game on the Xante. It has to come out this game.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
yeah.
very much agree with that statement.
But yeah, for the volleyball, like, he could go a hybrid build where he goes like cosmic into a little bit what you call it, Iceborne Gunlet. Is it still called Iceborne Gunlet?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah,
He could go into that crit item, like the Flicker Blade
the
Navuri, right?
Navori Flicker Blades.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
one.
yeah. Then that's a really solid build for the Volibear, like mixed damage, especially with the amount of AP and AD you have in this team comp. Um, However, I have to think, as a Nocturne player, like a jungler, it's really important for me when I pick Nocturne, is that I don't play light switch off Nocturne. You want to play a Nocturne with a team that can go in with you, and maybe the Nico can go and do some crazy stuff in the Nocturne ulti. But other than the Nico, I don't really see much. Like, the Zaya kind of want to play back. The Hui also want to play back. Maybe the Cassante can join you, but there's only so much the Cassante can provide as well inside a Nocturne ulti. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Doohy will be playing these team fights out.
Yeah, the Casante's best bet is to try and take someone out of the fight with that all out or something along those lines. But like you mentioned, yeah, the Hui and the Zaya very much want to play from their range. They're not diving in. And on the side of Phantoms, you've got a decent amount of going in. The Rel can go in with a Magnet Storm and pull everyone together so that that shockwave from Remorin can land, and Varric, of course, can just jump into the middle of a fight. So I don't know how I feel about Sandbagging rejects. They've got not the most synergy, right? Xayah wants some peel. She wants a tank to just stand there and let her free hit onto MadMen Phantoms. I don't know if that's going to be happening when you have a Nocturne jumping into the middle of the enemy team.
Yeah, but to be fair, the Nocturne doesn't really need to go in, right? He can still play the switch the light off Nocturne, you know, which is still kind of useful. Not the best, but yeah, it is something. I think, again, I really do think the burden of his execution is on MadMen this game. They have sort of a team comp that needs to get in there, get the Xayah, get the Hui, and I do believe they get outranged for sure. They have like a weird, like like a wombo combo kind of team comp with Rel, Oriana, and Vladimir. But how are you gonna get in there? Like, what's the ball delivery system is gonna be like? It's probably have to be the Rel or the Volibear. And other than that, the team fights are gonna be really fucking hard for MadMen for sure.
Yeah, I do agree. I think you kind of have to have your fingers very sharp if you want to play the Vayne here, right? It's if you walk up as the Vayne, you get hit by one CC ability coming out of the Hui, coming out of the Nico, or even if you get hit by some of those feathers from the Xayah, you're pretty much instantly dead, and it's incredibly hard for you to play. The rest of your team have like better ways of living, right? The Volibear and the Vladimir, they can heal up quite a good bit. But the Vayne, of course, she's got dashes, she's got the Condemn. But if you get stunned once, you can't use any of those tools and you immediately die.
Yeah. It's yeah, definitely harder on MadMen in this game. I would say so far almost every game somehow Sandbagging rejects find themselves playing the easier to execute, in my opinion, in this sort of level team comp. And MadMen also, based on how we saw last game, we did talk about like is communication the changes. We did talk about the changes for each team. Like each team is suffering because of the changes, but I think it's more I mean, you see the result, right? It's more showing on MadMen, and especially with their communication, the way they're playing their macro definitely is not the normal MadMen you would see you saw throughout the split.
Yeah, like to bring mention to that previous game, like you mentioned right at the end there, even with the gold lead that the Mel had accrued, she wasn't really on the same page as the rest of the team being up in that top lane, which very much resulted in the quick undoing of MadMen. So if they can find themselves on the same page, which you really have to do, especially with that Oriana, right? Having this new mid laner coming in, you need this Oriana to be on the same page. You need to be together when you're making those engages so that you can combo the Shockwave with the Stormbringer or with the Magnet Storm or something of that sort. So you very much need to be together. As Dirac just running away from Clyde right now. Doohy over the wall will get crashed down on, but we'll be able to dodge away from it. And oh wait, that was Kez. That was a Nico.
That was a 4-man stun by Nico.
That was a nice stun. It won't result in anything, but it was pretty juicy.
Yeah, it is juicy. Also, MadMen are recalling, so maybe Cassante could secure some ward for information. Yeah, it is placed by Duhi. So he will have good information on the Volibear, the pathing, and make that early game a little bit more predictable.
Yeah, it seems both junglers this time are going to be starting in that bot side and pathing towards the top lane, which is interesting. As I mean, we've got a lot of scaling all the way around the map, right? The Orianna versus Hui, those are scaling. The top lane, Cassante versus Vlad, very scaling, and Zaya and Vayne. None of these are like super aggressive early game champions that want to rumble and tumble with you early on. Everyone just wants to scale. You know, we're just gonna have a chill, slow-paced game, I imagine, for the next few minutes.
Yeah, I would say like the one champion that can spice it up is that Volibear, because that champion does not really need to wait. All he needs is his level 3, and then he's basically a tank slash assassin slash tower turret diver, you know, slash shields and heals, and yeah, he's a very fun champion to play against. So potentially, like Varg has a room in that early game to make some stuff happen early on, and see what win condition he will decide to play around, as we see him pathing toward that bot lane right now.
Yeah. And I mean, this Cassante could be the target of a gank. There's not really much gank setup though from the Vladimir, so you need to make sure that the wave is in a very favorable position. But both junglers will be around the same side of the map, so it's not going to be easy for you to find a good play without just getting counter ganked. And the Vlad also, of course, the Cassante has more setup, but the Vlad has a pool and he can just walk away. So the Volibear might have a tough time trying to gank just because of how easy it is for Cassante to, you know, run away with the footwork and the Pathmaker and just completely leave if you try and gank him, especially with your top laner being a Vladimir.
Yeah, I mean, considering the bot lane we're seeing, I actually would have expected the bot junglers to path bot lane, but we see a trade going on in mid lane. Orianna is out of mana right now. The top lane scuttle is spawning, and Duty is going to take the bot scuttle. Okay, nice. Good decision making. Like, he knows you cannot win versus a Volibear as Nocturne this early on, so might as well just trade scuttles and be there for your second spawn camps.
Yeah, logical, and both of these junglers are just going to take a reset, I would imagine. That ward will be placed down. I don't think there's much of an angle to look for something on bot, but instead Doohy is just going to immediately start the second rotation of camps, as I think he kind of realized there's not really going to be an opening for anything. So started with those chickens, which means you can get into that second rotation of camps very quickly and just kind of power farm until you hit that level 6, and then there is something around the map for you to make a play on.
Yeah, also on Nocturne, you try your best to recall on that 1200 to get that Tiamat, and I believe taking the grubbies, not the golems, would probably give him that gold enough for. Okay, so finishing the grubbies, he will have that Tiamat. Yeah. Thank you, production. Thank you, production, for helping me with that. Yeah, so I would say the Nocturne is having a really great early game. This is exactly what you want as a Nocturne in the first 5 to 6 minutes of the game.
Indeed it is, as you can see that back coming through now, and it's going to be the Phage picked up actually, not the Tiamat.
Oh.
It will be a Phage, maybe just a little bit shy on the gold for that. Maybe the potion, you know, buying that early potion means that maybe you're just a little bit of gold off, but Varric out on the map a lot earlier, as the reset was done earlier, means the first Drake will be going to the side of Phantoms in this game.
I wonder what's Varric going to be built that into. Is it going to be like a black lever or a... I'm actually... Is he going to go Trinity? Nah. I'm actually lost. Like, the two famous builds for Nocturne. Oh my god.
Wait, hang on a minute. Can he connect the Severing Bolt? Dirac doesn't have enough mana.
Nice damage by Dirac. And that Orianna is just gonna keep suffering and bleeding more CS. They're calling right now. And as I was talking about the builds for Vladimir for Nocturne, there are two famous builds that most people go, and we see Kiyoya going in on money to make. He land the
Yeah, the
knockup.
ultimate
He
hero
land the
play,
ulti.
healing. I don't know if money to make can get out of this one. There is
Oh, he's
not
out.
enough slow. Yeah, okay. Phase
Phase
rush on the
rush.
Vladimir. Yeah,
You
phase rush
cannot
thing.
beat a phase rush, man. Like, how can you catch a champion with phase rush? Good choice of runes, honestly. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Yuntal is also a famous. It's kind of getting there for
Yeah,
Nocturne.
oh,
Ah, that was close.
it
And
was.
Stride Breaker first item. I've seen some people go that Hex. Oh,
Oh my
Valkyrie
god, Paranoia in the mid
last
lane.
clutch.
Crash
Oh,
down is avoided by Doohy. Ollie doesn't land the Shattering Strike either, but Remorin just
oh,
about has enough
Limited
health.
has ulti, but refuses to use it. Okay.
I guess he knew he was going to live. Ollie going in, though, trying to look for something.
Oh,
Kess
the
is
fear
here,
lands.
lands the Tangle Barbs, and first blood for the Nico. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Support killing support. That's the first blood.
that's how it should be. Supports killing supports. And then you emote them after you kill them.
But yeah, as far as this build goes, I imagine it's going to be the Stride Breaker, given that we're seeing the Phage coming through, right? As Varric now trying to run down Dirac, Stormbringer's going to land, and there is the ball. It's going to be put on to Varric, but the Shockwave not going to connect onto Dirac. The Flash is going to be burnt out of the way, though. So that will be a nice summoner burnt in this mid lane, meaning a regank is very possible, as Ollie has made their way over towards these grubs. And it's going to be second objective of the game, also going over to Phantom.
Is Vayne gonna be allowed to catch this wave though? That's what I wanna see, because
She probably shouldn't be allowed to.
but she's catching most of the CS and
Oh my
Chris
God,
is
look at
getting
Kent.
low. He's
Tanking the
trying to
turret.
do
Guys going in, flashing forwards. The heal, though, as the Pot Blossom is not tumbled out of the range for Clyde, trying to get back in there. But the Blade Caller, oh no.
Oh, he tried. Clyde tried, but that's a really good synergy by Kez and JC.
You
As you
have to
can see, like,
respect the attempt.
yeah, you have to respect it by Clyde for sure. Like, he was getting bullied under his tower. The Nico got super low. He saw an opportunity, of course, but Kez and JC, their synergy just they've been playing together for a long time. These two, and it kind of shows on these 2v2s.
Oh, Kayoya brings back money to make with the all-out flashes forward to land the Pathmaker.
Volibear is
Money to
coming.
Make has a flash of his own. Varric making their way up, and all-out has meant that Cassante is missing a good bit of health. Trying to go back in to find a trade onto money to make, but he's just too slippery. But here comes Kez and Doohy turning off the lights, but Doohy's on to Remorin in the mid lane as the feat of warfare is going to be picked up, and Doohy finds the kill as well. We just saw that on the mini-map. But the paranoia wasn't even there. That was 2 kills at 2 different times, at 2 different parts on the map.
Yep, and the feat of warfare is secured for Sandbagging rejects and a good almost 4k gold lead.
Yeah, 4k. I mean, that's a pretty massive gold lead at this point in the game. 10 minutes. And I think this game is looking a little bit like game 1, where Sandbagging rejects, they're up 4 kills now. And pretty much everyone has themselves a share of the pie. Everyone's got some form of kill participation, and everyone's up a good chunk of gold over their lane opponent.
Yeah, but somehow MadMen, they keep getting these objectives, in my opinion, right now for free. I mean, sure, the first dragon was it should have gone their way as to the Nocturne, the nature of Nocturne versus Volibear matchup. But the Grubbies, I don't think you needed to give that. And another dragon right now is going towards MadMen way, and securing these 2 dragons will give them a leeway in the game to not like worry about takes going for Sandbagging rejects way, to give more time for that Vayne and the Oriana and the Vladimir to catch up on some items mid-game onwards.
This does feel completely illegal. I will say, I don't know how MadMen Phantoms have been allowed to get all of these objectives, but Sandbagging Rejects don't have a single one. They don't have a Grub, they don't have a single Drake, and despite being up a massive amount of gold, Phantoms have all of these objectives. So if they can keep that up, it will be insane. But I imagine that the next Drake will be heavily contested by the side of Sandbagging Rejects.
I can tell you what Sandbag and Rejects have. They have a Rukern 11 minutes in the game on a good chunky Cassante. They do have a Stride Breaker at 11 minutes on a Nocturne. These two are so happy right now.
They really are. I mean, it's now insanely difficult for Money to make to do any damage to this Cassante in the top lane. Clyde dodges away from the Tangle Barbs. The Shadowing Strike will land onto Kez, but there's no follow-up engage. I think some kind of play needs to be made somewhere, but with a Nocturne existing, it's so difficult for you to do anything anywhere on the map, as there's always that looming threat of a paranoia coming to meet you in your lane, especially with this fully completed item here on the Nocturne. So unless you're fighting with a massive numbers advantage, you're going to be pretty scared of this Nocturne, as Cassante looking to find another kill onto Money to Make, who will get pulled backwards a little bit, has got the phase rush though, so is going to be completely fine, and we'll just be able to heal back up.
Yeah, I believe Money to Make is struggling a little bit. It's the nature probably of the matchup, as he just needs the time to secure his first item. That's when the Vladimir can probably start taking over. But then again, you're playing into a Roken Cassante. Like, it's gonna take you 10 years to go through his shield and then his other shield, and then it's a Cassante. Like, good luck doing anything to that guy.
Yeah, I very much agree with that. I think, especially when you don't have the, a lot of consistent damage. Unless you can just walk at this Cassante, it's so hard to even break through that shield. Look at that. Two abilities there as Varric is flashing on Dirac. The flash will be forced out of the way.
Yeah, Varric also ulted there. Like, he used the ulti. But if we flashes, oh, what is Orianna doing? Oh no.
Emerin a little bit out of position, but the rest of the team is now here to back them up. Doohy has been exhausted. Signature of the Visionary does a lot of damage, and Varric can't get the healing. Ollie, spiraling despair, will take him down, and now it's 7-0. I think Sandbagging Rejects are pretty happy with their 6k gold lead now, and it looks like a cannon minion is ganking Clyde in the bot lane and trying to ensure that he can't even farm his wave safely, as his support has gone and died
in the game as well. Oh, whoa. Yeah, this game is hard. This game for MadMen, this game is, yeah, it's like, you have to wonder, is it desperation on the play that happened on mid lane? Because that looked really forced by Rimuru.
Yeah, I think they just went a little bit too early, and they were trying to call their jungler and support up, but Remorin just caught out before the rest of the team can arrive, and then it means by the time they do arrive, it's a 2v2, and you're not winning a 2v2 with a massive gold deficit. If Remorin was just a little bit slower, it would have been a 2v3, and there would probably have been some chances to take something in this fight, but now Ollie face checking a bush will get rooted up by the Tangle Barbs, but
it's
no
a real
paranoia. Yeah, he's going to be all right for now. But I don't think all right is what you want to be. I think you want to be finding kills, finding something.
Yeah, you need to be on top of fights, initiating them. You don't want your Orianna to roleplay a bait and just gets one-shotted before you're there. You need to be on the same page, especially when you're playing these kind of depend on your ulti, like press R team comps. You need to be on the same timer, and it is clear that MadMen Phantoms, they are not on the same page, at least in the first 60 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. And now first objective of the game going over to Sandbagging Rejects marks that point in the game where I think almost the rest of the objectives will be going over to Sandbagging Rejects. Phantoms are at least going to be able to try and answer back with a Herald, but they will not get themselves on Soul Point, which is very much their win condition, or at least what it seems like it's going to be in this game, right? With those 2 Drakes, that is kind of what they had to play around if they wanted to win. But the gold is too far in the favor of Sandbagging Rejects, and you can just see that with Doohy just diving the tower. Remorin yet again dead underneath it, and that bot lane tier 2, a big gold injection, is about to go down at 16 minutes. Kiyoya looking to fight money to make, but Vladimir is very, very slippery. But I don't think they mind very much, because this Cassante is doing his job, keeping this Vladimir just sat there in the top lane. It can't impact anywhere else on the map, and slowly but surely, everything is falling for Phantoms. They've just lost their tier 2, they've lost the Drake, and gold lead even bigger. Barrack trying to look for a play, though.
Can he get out?
He has flash. Kiyoya, and he's fine. He's fine. They're at zero, and they might be able to turn it. Hang on. Kiyoya's going in, crushing more. Flash forced out. He is here, but Spiraling Despair just about misses. Doohy's coming around the back of the turret, tries to land. The tether is on money to make, but the Shattering Strike doesn't land. Crash down first, money to makes healing back up. Magnet Storm, Doohy flashing away, but the Stormbringer gets back in there. A shotgun goes over to money to make, and Ollie's trying to go even further. We'll turn around as a Pop Blossom lands.
Oh my god, the
JC taking down Remorin. Clyde trying to get Kez at least one more auto attack will do it. And now it's a 1v1. Maybe Clyde can win it. Dodges away, but still gets pulled in by the Blade Caller. And JC manages to flash over the wall to get away from Ollie. That's pretty, I mean, hey, 2 kills on the board now for Phantoms. And Ollie's trying to make it 3. Shattering Strike doesn't land.
Ollie is Gen J's there. Chill. Yeah, oh my god, Ollie is he's emoting on him.
What is happening? And now he's baiting for Varric, but he doesn't have the ult or the flash.
Yeah, okay, MadMen is trying. I mean, you could tell that Sandbagging Rejects were kind of feeling too comfy, let's just say. They were flashing in for the Vladimir, who had Face Rush running, who had his W running. They went between tier 1, tier 2 towers on the Nocturne on his own, gave a shutdown to the Vladimir. 2v2 fight happened around the mid lane. Kind of exciting. I liked how how JC played it. But little by little, Sandbagging kind of showing disrespect, and they did give 2 kills toward MadMen. Is that going to be a game changing? We will see.
Well, I mean, hey, now there is at least a gold lead for 1 member on the side of Phantoms. His money to make is up around 600, which is pretty good when you're a Vladimir. We do have a pause indeed, but we get to have a look at this gold graph, which went up and then it's come down a tiny amount. It now sits at around a 6,000 lead for Sandbagging Rejects, which is not a small number. 6,000 is actually a pretty big number.
Yeah. But okay, as production is telling us that JC, apparently he has DC'd. Maybe Ollie just triggered him too much, and he ended up
quitting the game.
Pulling his cable or quitting the game, something like that. But let's just assume it's that.
Thoughts? Do you think Sandbagging Rejects can win a 4v5?
Considering the lead they have, I would say yes.
Potentially. I don't think they need to, though, because JC has reconnected to the game and we're about to be unpausing very, very shortly. And, well, MadMen Phantoms are going to have to hope that they can win even in a 5v5. Unluckily for them.
Yeah, but I can tell you, like, this Oriana, Remorin, I feel bad for them that the first game they're playing is going this way. But they just gonna be a displacement ulti kind of bot, you know, like they're not gonna be doing much damage in this game because I gotta say, like, Dewey did such an awesome job just forcing on an Oriana, forcing mistakes, took the flash the first ulti, the second ulti killed him again. And you could tell that frustration is probably into Brimmeren's mind right now because of how the game have been played out. Really good performance on game two, but unfortunate circumstances happened. And game three, picked the Oriana, had to go it because they saw the Nocturne. Maybe it's not even a comfort champion for Rimmerin, right? Maybe they just picked it because you want to deny Oriana Nocturne. And it's kind of showing that they are struggling on the Oriana right now.
Yeah, this mid matchup is very, very favored for Sandbagging Rejects. As you can see, 2 levels in favor of Dirac. We can't see the individual gold differences, but I can assure you that Dirac is substantially ahead.
Yeah. Okay, we're back into it.
We're back into the game, and it's 2.6k, 2.6 thousand gold in favor of this way.
Oh.
It's the biggest lead that we have all the way around the map, even though Dirac only 1 kill, 5 assists, but the CS lead is absolutely monstrous. Remorin having such a hard time even existing in this lane, and yeah, I think it's going to take a miracle for Phantoms to come back in this game, but well, money to make on their way towards that second item now. Going to be the Rift Maker most likely, with those components picked up. Unless it's going to be, I suppose it could be the other one, which what's it called again? the
Rift Maker?
Curse. Yeah, could be. Shockwave going to land this time.
That's what the wants to drain.
Blossom's coming in. The Stormbringer will immune up Eric for a little bit. Crushing more is gonna, yeah, it's a triple kill for the support. Make that 4. I mean, it's JC just absolutely shredding through everyone, and Kez gets a triple kill. So Atakan now going to be spawned and started up by Sandbagging Rejects. And I mean, that play started up. Doohy, it looked like a bit of an overstep. It probably was a bit of an overstep, but the fact that the rest of the team was around the corner just meant the fight instantly turned.
Yeah. Do you think that Vladimir being there would have changed the outcome of that fight?
Maybe. I think the possibility is that maybe after Nocturne died, had Sandbagging Rejects seen Vladimir there, they might have backed off and like not continued with the rest of the fight, given that their jungler had just died. But well, I think Doohy's okay with giving up their life for that play, considering that the outcome was a 1 for 4.
And an Atakan for their troubles.
That too. Then the level gap even bigger. 3 levels. Ollie trying to look for another play though, as the Condemn will sunk Kez into a wall. He has to go golden. The TP's coming in. Dirac's over the corner trying to put the damage in. He's got a double kill. He's got a triple kill. And money to make TP's into the fight. Tries to find one. Will be able to do so. But 1 is all they will find. It's another 1 for 4 trade. Phantoms gonna lose yet another objective off of the back of a lost team fight. And it's going to be the second Drake, evening up the score. And this Vladimir finds himself even further ahead, but as a whole, the team now 8k behind.
Dirac, that was nasty. He just...
Oh, hey, hang on a minute. Dirac flashing forward, he misses the devastating fire. Remorin now trying to turn this one around, flashing for Dirac, but he's got a pull of reflection to keep him alive. Twin Visage is going to land as he gets sent away, but Ollie comes in clutch with a heal. Oh my god, Remorin will get taken down by this Cassante, and somehow Dirac is alive. Varric's trying to sprint him down as JC is here now. Ollie will land the Shattering Strike. He's trying to go. He's got a Herald here, but Dirac is just running. Ollie now completely on the wrong side of the map. Grimvis is going to land and send him packing, and JC is going to be able to pick up the kill. He's just recoiling in his face. The Magnet's no matter, but he's still got a pool of reflection, and Ollie, going way too deep, is going to get taken down.
Ollie did not have that ignite. He has the smite with his spellbook, and he couldn't just find the Derek, but Derek is smurfing this game. He did such a good job of spreading his AoE all over the enemy team in the bot lane fight. And then on top lane, the 1v1 with already using most of his cooldowns on the bot lane fight, managing to dodge and shift, and then his teammates coming in to help him, surviving, and then recalling in front of all his face.
That was so BM. That was BM.
That is next level, Derek. That is next level BM in a match point. Man, he has 25 Magi stack. And I believe game 1, he also had a Magi stack. I don't know if he reached 25. I don't remember, but this guy in his element right now, 4K leading in that mid lane role.
Yeah, I think Dirac is having an absolute monster of performance. Look at the level gap. 4 levels up in the mid lane now, 25 Magi stacks. There is, well, one of these mid laners has a 0 stack Dark Seal. The other one has a 25 stack Magi's. It's pretty easy to see which one of them is winning. 4K gold lead, and just the level lead is so big, especially after Atakan, that look, they don't need the Baron. They're just pushing in these waves, and there's nothing Phantoms can do to stop them. They've just got so much power that even in like a 5v4, 5v3, it's almost impossible for Phantoms to come out on top. And look at this, they're stacking this bush. Ollie's walking in. He will get caught out by the gaze of the Abyss, but he will be able to crash down far enough to make enough space to get to safety. Money to make under a tower, but he's going to be able to clear out the minions. As he's trying to walk back up, he gets rooted, but he will be able to pull and live for now.
Just Sandbagging and DJs are playing like the map.
My God. Varric is just dead! He's just blown to smithereens. Money to make has to try and pull to dodge the all-out, but he's going to be pulled back by the Natofo strikes. He's so unbelievably low. He's taking Kez flashes forward. Hang on a minute. He finds the kill! How does Kez do that? The Pop Blossom isn't going to land, but it's going to keep him alive. Never mind. Remorin will find the kill. It's a 1 for 2 so far, which is okay for Phantoms. And now Casante's dead. They're looking to try and turn this into more kills, but I think that might be a mistake. That might be a mistake. Remember, too far. He's trying to use the ball to heal him or give himself a little bit of a shield. He gets the shield from Ollie. He'll get taken down by Doogie.
No,
oh, no.
That's crazy, bro. Holy. Doogie. That was nice.
What a crazy fight. I mean, Phantoms actually showed some signs of life, though. They managed to find, I believe, 3 kills, or was it 2? I think it might have been 2 kills.
2, yeah.
But hey, that's better than the 0 that they've been getting so far this game. And I mean, the gold lead is still 9k. I want to find something positive to say. The gold lead is still 9k, but Phantoms have shown that they can find like some advantages when Sandbagging rejects do make a little slipper.
Yeah. Also, I would say a bigger but, okay, is that the Sandbagging rejects. Whoa, nice steal. They just cannot secure anything. It's impossible. Like the Nico's also doing damage, you know. It's like how can you play? But what I was trying to say is that Sandbagging rejects, it's on them. Like whenever MadMen gets something, it's because Sandbagging rejects are just playing like crazies, you know. They just dive in tier 2. They're playing half of them between tier 1 and between the inhib turret, and half of them is in front of the inhib turret. Like this is why the only reason that MadMen managed to get anything in that team fight.
Yeah, and our Ocean Soul point for Sandbagging rejects means that they're probably not going to die anymore, especially this Cassante. when they get that Ocean Soul, it's going to be so disgusting as Doohy goes in with the Paranoia. The fleet is going to land and Clyde is instantly dead. Ollie has to try and crash down away, but Doohy is so unbelievably fast. The Stride Breaker stops Ollie from going absolutely anywhere. And the TP's coming in. I think Sandbagging Rejects want to try and end this game right here and right now. They've got a minion wave, and that's really all they need. They can just tank these turrets up with this Cassante. And it's a 3v5, pushing more, and the Spiraling Despair is going to land. Dirac manages to live through the damage as well. And Remorin has to go back to base to try and heal up. The wave is gone. The wave is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And Sandbagging Rejects are going to take their leave from the base of Phantoms, but the Baron is up and ready for the taking.
Yeah, they're recalling, getting some items, and then they will send it probably on the Baron, just as you mentioned. And straight out from the Baron, it's probably going to be a sail out. However, we could see a steal. That is a potential.
It's true, we saw a steal last game.
If I was a Sandbagging Reject right now, I would be saying, send it. Yes, I would say send it right now. We're sending it on the vein.
Dude, he is sending it on the vein. He is sending on the vein, but he gets condemned away. Ultimate will be popped, and Remorin will flash over the wall away from the Severing Bolts. But this Cassante completely locked up now. There's a lot. This vein is dealing damage. This vein has reached the point where she's dealing damage. Severing Bolts are coming down. They're doing a good bit of poke, though.
Yeah, and Dirac is doing damage from 2 screens away. He's sending nukes on top of MadMen heads, and they don't know what the fuck hit them. They just go in base now. It's like we're not even contesting this. This guy is just a criminal right now, dude. Not
Varric has a flash. Varric does have a flash. That might be the saving grace if he can flash into the pit and steal away this Baron. It looks like he might be trying to, which is why it seems that
they send it back.
SR are just backing off. They're backing off. They don't want a piece of this. There's money to make in the back line. Emo playing. Where is he going? Dirac just pops him and blows him to smithereens. And now Paranoia, he finds himself over the wall again. He's trying to find Varric, who has to flash, pop Blossom, and Clyde is going to go down to a Severing Bolt, like you mentioned, a nuke from 3 screens away, as Dirac will find yet another, keeping the 25 Medjay. If Medjay could go above 25, the game would be... This man would have like 3,000 AP right now. But... I mean, Sandbagging Rejects, they don't even need the Baron. They're just hitting away at these Nexus turrets. Varric and Remorin trying to clear away these waves, but the Pathmaker from Kayoya is just ensuring that they go absolutely nowhere. It's 2 more kills in the base here. Doohy just blowing through these towers. And it's going to be game 3 in a 3-game series going to Sandbagging Rejects in the finals.
Wow. What a series, man. I mean, I definitely would have liked to see, more games. Definitely. But it has to be said, like, the better showing team today is that Sandbagging Rejects. They just had MadMen's numbers every game. Sure, game 2 was a little bit close. With that Mel, we were close, we were competitive, but it wasn't enough. It's not enough.
Yeah, no, you are completely right.
And we need to come to our MVP. We need to come to our MVP.
We do indeed, and I mean, MVP is so difficult because we saw like everyone was just. It's hard to say because I think everyone just won. Everyone just beat their lane opponent. Everyone just had an incredible showing. Right, there was some absolutely monster engages from Kez. I think Dirac and Doohy both did absolutely monstrous work in their respective positions, and JC was just always there putting down the damage. Kayoya, just a complete rock in the top lane, especially in that last game, just refusing to let the Vladimir do what he wanted to do. So I think it's very difficult to say.
Yeah. And yeah, my pick is definitely Dirac, because Dirac was playing the AD carry role for this team before, the shenanigans that happened in the last few days. So him showing up on mid lane and giving off that performance, that's that's really respectable. And he, in my opinion, he won with style. Like his builds, his positioning, the way he was playing. He was like showing off while also smurfing at the same time.
True. I absolutely agree. I think Dirac did have an absolutely monstrous series, especially that last game on the Hui. There is no doubt in my mind that, especially if you just consider that last game, that Dirac was MVP in that final game.
Yeah. Uh, I'm just making sure with the production. Are we going to have an interview? Okay. So apparently we're not gonna have an interview, guys. Some would have liked it, but probably for a better quality of production, that we don't have this interview. Um, yeah, it was fun series overall, I would say.
It was, despite being short, the games were very action packed to say the least.
Yeah,
There was a lot of stuff going on
yeah, especially
everywhere.
game two. Yeah, especially game two. Perfect.
Well, thank you guys all for coming out and watching the finals of Division 1, and congratulations to Sandbagging Rejects on their Division 1 trophy for Valanth League. Would like to thank everyone for coming, who, whether you
Yeah,
played or just watched or casted alongside me. Thanks, Goob.
yeah. Thank
It
you,
was a
man.
great time.
Yeah, I had
Absolutely.
fun. I also would like to mention that regardless of what happened in the last few days, um, like I was also, I got hit by whatever happened, and I just want to say and remind everyone to remember that we are all in this league to have fun and to like get to know people and get to know each other. As someone playing from a region that is not even in Europe, from a country that is not even in Europe, like I got to learn a lot um, by playing with people I would never meet in my life. So it's really important in times like these to remember that why did you join this league? Why are you playing? I mean, sure, like ego is the reason, um, and there are other reasons. Like you maybe you want to have like any accomplishment, or you just want to have fun. So we're all here just to have fun, and we shouldn't take it further on any more of that. Um, and yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And I hope that next split it will be like better atmosphere, especially for a big match such as Div 1 final. I really hope so.
I very much agree. And yeah, well, on that note, that will be the end of the stream. Thank you all for coming and watching, and thank you to the players, and especially those who had to sub in at the last minute and after all of the shenanigans that occurred. But I'm glad that the game was able to go ahead and we were able to cast this series. And we will see you next time on the stream.